How many of you know this song? Jidodo de maunu, mena nukweameo, glimetio, nyena mile, gwe. Folks, welcome aboard the AM show. It's a Thursday edition of the best breakfast show on the block, your most informative, educative, and analytical morning show on the block. I'm Sweetie Abochi, and I do this with Benjamin Akakpo. Now, this morning, we'll start by serving you the AM news like we always do. And after that, we'll sit with our guests to review the newspapers. Guess who's joining us for news review today? Kwesi Kwating. He's a private legal practitioner and former spokesperson for the Ministry of Education. And then we also have Engineer Ebenezer Edu. He's a member of the NDC National Youth Working Committee. They'll be joining us to review the newspapers. And after that, we'll serve you AM Sports. Muftan Abil Abdullahi will be anchoring that. Now, today being a Thursday, we'll bring you an exclusive interview with an industrialist and a former president of the Association of Ghana Industries. As President John Dramani Mahama is already swearing in his new appointees, especially the Finance Minister, Dr. Kludjeson Forson, and 5 others yesterday, charging them to serve with humility and candor. What are the expectations for the business players in the new business environment under this new administration? We'll find out this and many more from our guests. You don't want to miss it. And of course, we'll bring you AM Business because savings and loans institutions have contributed to Ghana's economy, especially to the small and medium-scale enterprises. But the sector is bedeviled by some challenges. James Ashen, as usual, is on that beat and will be serving as AM Business today. Join us with your comments and your thoughts across all social media platforms with your Joy News on TV. And hopefully we'll open the phone lines at the tail end of the program and then you get to have your say. Folks, welcome aboard. Let's get straight into the news now. Hi, I'm Sweetie Abochi, and this is the AM News Bulletin on the AM show. Now, we've averted the looming threats of a power crisis. That's the assurance from President John Dramani Mahama as he swore in the first batch of 6 ministers at the Jubilee House yesterday. Now, speaking during the ceremony, he stated that fuel deliveries to the thermal plant in the east have begun ahead of the planned maintenance of the West African Gas Pipeline project. And some days ago, the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Jinapor, warned of a serious energy crisis, citing insufficient fuel stocks for power generation. He attributed this to the failure of the Akufo-Addo-led administration to make the necessary fuel procurement, despite repeated warnings and calls for action. However, President John Dramani Mahama has assured the nation that the looming power crisis has now been averted.
That I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana.
The 6 ministers sworn in by President John Mahama were the Finance Minister, Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Minister for Education Haruna Idrisu, Minister for Food and Agriculture, and Minister for Roads and Highways Kwame Agboja. They were presented with the instrument of office after taking the oath of office. In his speech, John Mahama said the government has averted the looming threat of a power crisis.
Through determined efforts, I can report that we have now averted the looming threat of power outages. And began delivering fuel to the thermal plants in the east in advance of the shutdown of the West African Gas Pipeline. And Honorable Jinapor, I want to congratulate you for working very hard.
The President further noted that similar timely interventions have ensured that short-term measures are in place guaranteeing an adequate food supply for senior high schools.
Similar timely interventions have been necessary in areas such as education, where an acute food shortage was a major problem when schools were ordered to reopen on 3rd January. We have put in short-term measures to ensure that our children have adequate food so that they can go ahead with their learning. These are short-term measures, and will help to keep our children in school, even as we strategize on streamlining the supply of food to schools and pay off arrears that are owed to schools, some dating from as far back as 2021.
President John Mahama urged the new ministers to serve with humility, emphasizing that the government will not tolerate arrogance or disrespect towards the electorate.
I therefore charge you to serve in humility and candor, always remembering that we serve at the pleasure of the Ghanaian people, and that the authority we exercise emanates from them. We must exhibit tolerance for their views and work to meet their aspirations. This government will not tolerate arrogance or disrespect for the people who elected us into office.
He touched on the issue of asset declaration, stating that timelines will be introduced for compliance.
We must be transparent and fair in all our dealings. The anti-corruption institutions will be empowered to investigate and deal with any appointee who falls foul of the law. I expect all of you to begin the process of declaring your assets. The Chief of Staff will announce the cutoff date by which time all eligible appointees should have deposited their assets declaration forms with the Auditor General.
The Finance Minister, Kasil Atuforsin, also spoke on behalf of the new ministers, pledging to work hard to make John Mahama the best president of the Fourth Republic.
Mr. President, we have been with you throughout your days in opposition. We have witnessed the misgovernance and misrule of the previous administration. We've learned, indeed, that Ghanaians will not tolerate such misgovernance any longer. We've taken a cue from what you've just told us. We want to assure you that we'll serve and serve in such a way to make you the best president in the Fourth Republic.
And the NPP minority in Parliament were yesterday taking John Mahama to the cleaners and accusing him of abandoning the presidential private jets. John Mahama has been criticized by the NPP over his use of his brother Ibrahim Mahama's private jet since he assumed office. Although the government has explained the use of the jet has come at no cost to the state, the NPP says it is offensive and must stop immediately.
I'm just here to correct something that the Honorable Chief Whip made or said, nothing more, nothing less. First of all, he said Akufo-Addo has not traveled on commercial aircraft. I want to say that President Akufo-Addo has traveled on numerous occasions on the same Emirates before. In fact, on some of the occasions, he went to Honorable Asenso. He's here. You can verify for him. I have the privilege as Minister for Defense to always be at the airport when the President is traveling, and your minister will do same. So I have the records. In fact, I am aware that the President has traveled to the UK numerous times on British Airways. We always have to be there between 10 and 11 for him to go. I'm aware that the President had to travel on Qatar Airways numerous times. So I'm just giving that information to Parliament and to the House. The second thing I want to correct is that President Akufo-Addo has not rented any private jet to travel within the country. West Africa, yes. Outside West Africa, yes. But in the country, no. Current jet is serviceable. It can move. It is working. It is wrong for the President of the Republic to be going on commercial jets when the jet that Ghana used their money to pay for and buy is available and it's working.
But the majority in Parliament say the NPP's concerns are unfounded. According to Majority Chief Whip and incoming Roads Minister Kwame Government-Abuja, the NPP, which supervised former President Akufo-Addo's use of expensive rented jets, cannot claim to care about John Mahama's use of a jet which is at no cost to the state.
For your information, President Mahama traveled on commercial flight. Unlike, yes. Let me make it extra clear to you. he went on a commercial flight. Unlike the former president, who rented private jets, even when he's going within the country. President Mahama has never, since he took office, rented and used Ghana government money to pay for any flight. That is the difference between our former president and the current president. Mr. Speaker, it is very, very rich of the former defense minister who sat there, and President Akufo-Addo traveled on countless occasions on very expensive private jets, is today telling us that our jet is fit for purpose. So how come you couldn't put the former president, on the same jet flight? Immediately you left office, the jet has become serviceable. Very, very rich.
In other stories, life is gradually returning to normalcy in Obuasi following last week's military clash with some illegal miners in Ghana's oldest gold mining town. Schools and other essential services are suspended in the impasse, and the impasse are resuming. Now, however, some private and public schools are recording reduced attendance as some parents fear reprisals despite heavy security deployment in the town. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku tells us more.
Students of the complex model school in Obuasi are back to the classroom and happily engaged in the day's activities. In the last 2 days, schools, including universities and the gold mining town, closed temporarily, culminating from the violent clash between soldiers and some illegal miners in the community. Like many other schools in the town, the Obuasi cluster of schools, housing 4 schools, recorded low attendance on the first day after the short break. The situation has compelled teachers to merge classes for teaching and learning.
My daughter doesn't attend AGA school, but I am scared to let her go to school, even though schools have resumed. I will let her go on Monday instead. I am waiting for everything to be calmer before I let her go.
Life is back to the KNUST campus in Obuasi as students actively return to lectures to make up for the lost time. But there are fears of reprisal even as they go about their academic activities.
Though we are safe and we go to class, nothing is happening around us. But there is this fear that is in us that there is a probability that something might happen to us or something. So I just wish everything ends so that at least that psychological effect that is having on us would be gone.
While students in the Obuasi municipality return to class, their colleagues in the Obuasi East district are yet to resume from their 3-day hiatus.
This is the Tutuka Methodist Primary School located specifically in the Obuasi East district. And as you can see, the classrooms remain under lock and key. There's no students around and even teachers. We understand that hopefully tomorrow they should resume school. Authorities here have indicated that they are hoping the tensions will be calmer and peace will be restored in this particular district.
George Kumsen is the education director in Obuasi Municipal.
So with this incident and the 2 days lost, we are going to make sure that our morning reading sessions, we are going to use those periods to make up for the lost contact hours. The learners and then the teachers and the officer, we are not the target. But as it happens, when there is chaos like that, anyone at all can be affected. With the security in place, there are patrols here and there, and I believe the other sides are also being talked to.
Management of the AGA schools have also announced reopening on Monday. Many other residents in Obuasi are eagerly awaiting the total restoration of calmness to go about their daily routine.
We think everything is calmer now, but it isn't. The authorities should act swiftly to restore peace.
So life is gradually returning to Obuasi, but there is a bit of security concern amongst the residents here. They want in the coming days that security could be continued to ensure that they are more safer in this gold mining town. From here in Obuasi Tutuka, for Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright-Kweku.
Moving on, the General Overseer of the Calvary Charismatic Center, Reverend Ransford Obeng, has condemned the violent clash between the military and illegal miners at Obuasi, which resulted in the loss of 9 lives. Describing the incident as unfortunate, the minister called for swift investigation into the matter. There's more in this report.
The miners are reported to have breached a security fence at one of the abandoned concessions of Anglo Gold Ashanti and were confronted by military personnel on guard. 9 persons have so far been confirmed dead in Saturday's violent clash between the said illegal miners and the military. General Overseer of the Calvary Charismatic Center, Reverend Ransford Obeng, has condemned the violent clash, insisting that measures must be taken to avert a reoccurrence. Against politicizing issues of death.
Apologies for the bad sound. We'll bring you an updated one in a subsequent bulletin. But Upper West Regional Minister, the minister designate, Charles Lawanga Pozuing, has stated that his priority will be to empower the youth with employable skills aimed at lifting the region out of the poverty quagmire it is currently submerged in. He noted that the NDC, in its manifesto, had outlined several programs which he intends to implement to improve the lives of the youth in the region. Lawyer Lawanga Pozuing, who is an immovable property expert, speaking in an exclusive interview with Joy News Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam, also addressed the land system in the region. He pledged to work with stakeholders to improve the relationship between the Lands Commission and landowners.
He called for calm and cool heads when nomination of persons from the region for ministerial positions appeared to be delaying, raising tension within the rank and file of the party. The lot, however, fell on the 48-year-old lawyer, father of 3 and husband to 1, Christy. Charles Wonga Pozun is the 3rd youngest person to be nominated for the position and the 23rd in the 42-year history of the region. The modest, frugal, and unassuming young man from Sabuli is a team player. He intends to build on the unity that prevails in the NDC party and the region at large.
So what it means is that every constituency or every district or municipal or metropolitan must have their fair share of the goodies that come with winning an election, which means that jobs must be allocated equally in accordance with equity, which means that the smaller you are, you have small, the bigger you have more.
Youth empowerment is his priority.
It's to first ensure that jobs are available. So under the current manifesto, we know there are sectors that we could activate immediately, one of which is to start the recruitment of those who do the coding system. Also ask the districts to start recruiting those who want to do the apprenticeship program, and then the Farmer Services Center, which is into agriculture. So I believe that if these 3 are activated, whilst we wait for the setting up of the Women's Bank, then we should be able to get a lot of youth into something to be doing, to occupy themselves instead of them idling.
Shocked but excited to hear the nomination of his son as Upper West Regional Minister designate at his home located at Napobokole Extension, a 77-year-old Bernard Kobi Pozun Sr.
After the elections, I asked him whether he had any intentions of looking for one of the jobs. And he said no, that he hadn't made up his mind. Little did I know he would become the minister. So he called me in Accra, called me and said, oh, he had been nominated. I said, but you said you were not going for that. He said, oh, the president thought he should be. And he had accepted it with whole heart.
Many in the party and in the region are equally excited about his nomination.
As a secretary
when we had only 6 seats. So from there, in 2020, he managed, with the able work of his regional chairman, we got 8 seats. From there, we moved to 11 seats. That's 11 of 11. So he did creditably well.
This is a person who relates very well with the youth. It doesn't matter his level of achievement he has made in life. Reporting for J News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
5 months ago, Joy News was at the Mile 7 roundabout, listening to the frustrations of motorists battling gaping potholes on this key stretch. Back then, hope lingered that the cries for help would bring relief. Today, that hope has turned into despair as the road remains untouched, still a dangerous patchwork of craters, forcing drivers to maneuver through chaos every day. My colleague Jacqueline Ansoma has more in this report.
The potholes are the main cause of traffic here. If they can help repair the roads, the traffic will be reduced.
That was the cry of some drivers 5 months ago when we visited Mile 7 roundabout, a road riddled with potholes, frustrating drivers and damaging vehicles. Today, the story hasn't changed. Drivers and motorists are still navigating this obstacle course of a road, risking their vehicles and safety. Many are disappointed, with some saying it feels like their complaints have fallen on deaf ears.
The potholes for here, they no be small. Because when you from the ABC there, they come. Before you read the roundabout, you see the speed for the inside. But because of the potholes, you know go speed. And traffic too, they cause traffic too for here. The potholes make our gas than before. I think from 2019 or 2020 where the potholes start. You see they pour the concrete self for top. Now first the water go there. But right now they can't pour the concrete there, it makes more. But still now no problem there.
This area is in terrible condition, and when it rains, it gets even worse. The entire place floods because of the potholes. My car tire burst here because the road was flooded, and I ended up hitting the potholes. It's always a struggle to get through the spots, as it requires a lot of effort just to pass. I've been using this road for a long time, and as a driver, we usually load from Accra directly to our destinations. However, because of the poor road conditions, we now load straight to Dome and take alternative routes. If the road was in good condition, we could follow the usual routes and charge a normal fare. Unfortunately, using these alternative routes means we need to charge extra. We are appealing to the government to fix the road.
This potholes, remain a daily struggle and a daily challenge for commuters, motorists, and everyone who uses this road. The big question remains, until when will authorities find a lasting solution to these gaping potholes at Mile 7? Reporting for Joy News, I'm Jacqueline Ansoma Yeboah.
From Mile 7, let's get right into our business updates with Benjamin Akapo.
Welcome to Business Updates. And this morning, we kickstart matters with our currency market. Up next. Well, let's cut into the major stories now, starting with the fact that the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana is making a strong case for the establishment of a Raw Material Council to, among other things, regulate and maintain standards of the raw materials fed into the country. They are of the view the presence of the council will provide information that enables the government to formulate policies for domestic raw materials exploitation, development, and utilization. Chief Executive of the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana, Anthony Morrison, tells Joy Business such a council would work to reduce the importation and expenditure of raw materials.
One of the issues that I said is to set up the Raw Material Council here in Ghana. Most of the raw materials we import is because we have not properly aligned the raw material availability of the country to feed the industry. So what do? You look at how you can do a more better agro-industrialization. I have always believed in the private sector, large-scale commercial farming to coexist with the small-scale farmer processes. So we need to find a way where in each region, at least, we can count between 2,000 to 5,000 of commercial farms. And let's not get it mixed. Tractorization and mechanization are quite different things. So we need to see a system that is actually being set up, that is providing for the industries and the factories.
Now, the immediate past president of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industries, Dr. Clement Osei-Amoako, is calling for a stronger collaboration between government and the private sector to effectively implement the 24-hour economy policy. According to him, it is important to engage the business community on the modalities of the policy. Now, speaking to Joy Business, Dr. Osei-Amoako maintained that when thoroughly executed, the economy will be industrialized.
Every time, every hour, every second. And government cannot do this without the cooperation of the private sector. The PPP that we have been mentioned of, how to sustain businesses, because if businesses are not working.
We apologize for the poor quality of sound in that video. But up next, we serve you our commodities market. You would have noticed a slight tweak in our business updates for you today. And of course, we always seek to bring you better. And yes, you're welcome. It's a wrap for business updates, handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
And that's a wrap for the news on the AM show. Let's get ready for our news review segment, and Kwesi Kwarteng, private legal practitioner and former spokesperson to the Ministry of Education, will be joining us, as well as Engineer Ebenezer Adu. He's a member of the NDC National Youth Working Committee, and they're joining us in a bit. Please stay.
Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for the news review. But before we get to our guests, let me tell you a bit about the Medicas Hospital. You know about them. Medicas Hospital is a modern healthcare facility built with your recovery in mind. They have spacious wards built with your family in mind, a warm and caring pediatric unit built with your children in mind, and of course, they have assembled some of the brightest minds in medicine, led by Dr. Yao Safo, the drive-time doctor, to serve you. They also offer general medical services as well as specialist services in, are you ready? Plastic surgery, obstetrics and gynecology, child health, urology, psychiatry, that's mental health, and eye care. Additionally, we offer a comprehensive medical diagnostic service encompassing endoscopy, medical laboratory services, x-rays and scans. A 24-hour pharmacy also ensures you will always receive efficacious, safe, and affordable medicine. And they are bringing to you the most powerful medicine of all, simple human kindness and empathy. And they pride themselves on attaining the highest attainable standards. They accept all forms of payment, including from private health insurance companies. So all you have to do now is make your way to Medicas Hospital at number 10, Kinto Street, near the Ashali Boucher School Junction. You can call them on 0501 477 340 or reach them on social media at Medicas GH. Medicas Hospital, a place of healing. Well, joining us for a conversation this morning, Kwesi Kwarteng, you would have heard him speaking to the education-related issues. He's a private legal practitioner. He's also former spokesperson for the Ministry of Education. He joins us. We also have Engineer Ebenezer Adu, member of the NDC's National Youth Working Committee. We have a lawyer and an engineer joining us. Whether they are going to pave roads or go to the Apex Court, only time will tell. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
And one is looking azure, sky blue, and the other one is looking white, though not off-white or pearl white.
They're in power.
They are in power. And where are you? You are in opposition. So that's another difference. Gentlemen, welcome. Sweetie.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm just taking a look, and it looks like your colors are complementing very well. But let's get into your thoughts for us.
They're actually donning my favorite colors.
Yeah, blue and white?
Blue and white.
Right. Usually we give our guests a minute, two at most, to walk us through any topical issue you want to reflect on. There's so much happening in the country right now. Let me start with you, Kwesi Kwarteng. What would you share with us this morning?
Yeah, I mean, I think largely it's more of the ministerial appointments, which I feel that in terms of the optics and, of course, management of the people's expectation, particularly the expectation of party members, the president has gotten it right. I mean, we are just hoping that, I mean, whilst, I mean, the president is also trying to source party people, at the end of the day, the balance of competence will also be considered. I think outside that has been this whole point about the attacks on state institutions that we feel that there has to be some level of firmness in terms of firmness in condemning it from leadership, so that hopefully we are not going to hear another incident probably in the coming weeks. Because from 7th till now, the extent of lawlessness is something that we all have to condemn. But I mean, aside that, like I indicated, Mr. Mahama has gotten I mean, there is an optics part of politics where you appeal to the people. You look at the mood of the nation. Usually when you win an election, you still have the goodwill of the people. Mostly when the outgone government is the one that has lost favor and touch with the people. But it looks like from the way his appointment is going, looking at the people whose name has been mentioned, how he's been able to integrate the core party people, largely those who were seen working. I mean, all of us have seen a lot of guys using your platform to campaign for the party. Most of them has gotten appointments. If you look at more or less the useful nature of his appointment, I mean, it's something that we all commend and wish them well. But usually, the bigger challenge...
Engineer Adu is just smiling at you.
I'm a nice person, I'm sure. So usually the bigger problem is not really about the setting of the government.
Right.
It's when the government has settled, somewhere in June, from June when the interest develops and a reality sets in. And also the media usually take a stance, of course. I mean, I have my own reservations about them. Some I feel that they are very genuine, because some too I feel that some platforms are being weaponized. Like recently what Captain Smart did.
Right.
But aside that, they've done well. We are just hoping that they are able to set their government fully and operational. So that they deliver the promises that they promise. At the end of the day, we are going to wish them well and support them.
That's refreshing. Engineer Adu, what made you smile so
Because he made my work so easy, because I was going to talk about the same thing. I mean, as a youth, I'm so happy And I'm so excited that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has yielded to his promise to make sure that he appoints more youth into his government. And from where I'm sitting, as part of the National Youth Working Committee, working closely with the National Youth Organizer, we have to say a big thank you to him. And as our commander said yesterday during his vetting, we are not going to lay him down. We are going to make sure that we work so that the youth of Ghana get the deserved and decent pay job that President Mahama promised all of us. And that is what we are in for.
Did you say you're a youth?
Oh, I'm
Yesterday,
youth.
that question popped up during the vetting committee.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask, because I'm looking at you.
Yeah,
I'm
41.
Okay.
So I just entered.
Okay.
You are still,
So I'm still youth.
So you're all youth
this bit about the youth, if you look at the UN, it has certain delineations, age categorization about, I think when you look at some other bodies as well, they also have their
UNESCO, which is
delineations.
different.
But they say age is how you feel.
It's
not about...
I mean, this era of universal human rights where people feel they are in it. And I mean,
but I've just bite-sized comments for both of you. For you, engineer, it's about the fact that in past governments, some young people have been given opportunities and some of them have messed up badly. So hopefully, the young people, because you see, sometimes those are the arguments used against young people.
Yes.
That, oh, even when you give them the opportunity, it's either they don't perform or they are corrupt. So this is an opportunity for young people.
Yeah, true.
There have been those who have excelled. That's not to take
so
away from
far, if you look at the very young people that His Excellency has appointed into the mainstream, like the CEOs and coming to the ministries, you can see that they are people of competence.
I don't dispute any of that. All I'm giving is advice.
Yeah.
That
So
hopefully these young people stick to the script.
As George Opariado said yesterday, the president promised us to give us a Ministry of Youth Development in our youth manifesto. And he has been able to fulfill that. What we have to do is to make sure that we go by the manifesto to make sure that we produce those jobs that we need for the young people of Ghana.
The youth should just perform so that it opens more opportunities for more young people to get into governance. He's calling for declaration of assets and all of that. We'll see how that goes. And for you, my little bit, how do you feel about, since you're coming from education, Haruna Idrisu, Minister Designate for Education, how do you feel? Brief thoughts and then...
Yeah, brief thoughts, but before that, we are all advocating for appointments for my friend.
Why are all of you doing this? Matthew Jindam was here yesterday doing that for Yusuf Suleimana, who was rejecting it. I don't know.
You know, the good thing about me is I don't want to come to the mainstream. I want to be in my constituency. So, because I'm a people-centered person. So I think that starting from there,
that's presidential, parliamentary ambition is just like that.
No.
Anyway, I mean,
but you would know, right?
Yeah, that's parliamentary ambition.
I have a fine parliamentary candidate, MP, first time MP. So
are you saying when the opportunity you won't go?
It's fine. Let him.
Maybe in the farthest.
Don't follow me.
Maybe in the farthest.
Before I create trouble for you. Anyway, I mean on Haruna Idrisu, I am of the view. I didn't have the opportunity to watch his vetting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because apparently I was in court. But I mean, I've seen him from afar. This is not the first time he had the opportunity to serve in any capacity as a minister.
Right.
I read social media comments, and of course, even if we look at the people's feeling towards his performance, largely the mood of the nation on social media, people were very receptive to him, and people felt that he did so impressive. I mean, he's one person that I am hoping that he really delivers or delivers the promises that the NDC promised. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, he's a fine gentleman. We are aware that behind the scenes he also have some aspirations and ambitions. So the expectation is that he will handle the office so well. But I mean, except to say that...
What aspirations and ambitions?
I mean, it is a known fact that hopefully one day he will become one of the candidates, let me put it that way.
Contenders.
Contenders of the NDC. So when you have such higher responsibility on you, it also puts you in a check in terms of your leadership, situation or the profile that you have to. So we can only wish him the best, except to say that some of the policies that the NDC propose, particularly, for instance, if we look at the policy like the double track, I'm just, hoping how he'll be able to handle it, because largely cancellation of double track simpliciter or essentially means that you are denying a lot of students access to education, particularly with the recent one of also students when they promise that they are going to make first-year students not to pay fees. I'm also looking at how they are also going to do it. But by and large, he's a fine gentleman, and I pray he succeeds there.
He spoke about uncapping the GET fund and the simpliciter bit. Well, there are other phases. But let's get into the papers. Let's start with the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
I think that's my paper, yeah? Okay, so on the front page, serve with humility, candor, President Mahama tells new ministers yesterday when he was swearing in those 6 ministers. Commander Sugar Factory will be operationalized, Trade Minister designate says. GJA to pursue justice for Lateef Idrisu, late Ahmed Swale at ICC. Let's start from there, because the Ghana Journalists Association says it will pursue justice for slain investigative journalist Ahmed Swale at the International Criminal Court if the Ghana Police Service failed to arrest and prosecute persons involved in the alleged murder. And they've given the police service up to March 2025 to come up with a comprehensive report from their investigations, arrest people, and prosecute them. Let me add one more story.
So that is one of the cold cases on the books of the Ghana Police Service. It's been what was this, 2019?
Was
or
it?
21?
There was a story that I really wanted to get into about Giselle Pellicot and how that trial in France sort of is redefining the blight of rape culture. Usually when we talk about rape, people misunderstand withdrawing consent or not even giving consent and, violence. Let me get into the story. So French MPs call for rape law to include consent after Giselle Pellicot's trial. Dominique Pellicot was sentenced last month along with 50 other men for the repeated dragging and raping of Giselle Pellicot in a case that stunned France. So now they're saying that we should re-examine rape laws so that it's not just about violence and, coercion or threat or surprise, but also if you don't give consent, it is rape. And consent can be withdrawn at any time. That's a conversation I think we should be having here in Ghana as well. But what do you think, gentlemen?
But let me just say this.
Yeah.
And Kwesi Kwarteng will definitely be aware. Sometimes it comes across as strange, but it has always been the case here. That has been the case in our jurisdiction.
What has been the case?
The issue of consent and the fact that at any given point, you can be.
I doubt that, because we came from a culture of victim blame. No shedding. What did you wear
when
before you were walking
when I say it has
there?
always been the case, I mean the law over the last how many has always been that some people just don't know that this is what it is, and that at any point within that process, the other party can say stop, and you would have to. Yeah, it's a tricky business, and if you pursue after the stop bit, it technically is. Where it gets complicated is when the people are a couple, and there are other dynamics in.
Yeah. Engineer.
I think that, as he said, it has always been the case in Ghana that we all know that when it comes to rape, the consent part is a part of it. So, as said, I'm a married man, and I want to do my thing. And my wife says no. You need to find a way to make sure that the two of you agree. And in Ghana, hardly will you even hear that married people take one of each partners to the law court for rape or what. So I think it's a conversation that we have to look at. But rape is rape, and that is something that. But as Ben said, you need consent. Consent is part of it. So.
Although you say, both of you are saying that has always been the case, I doubt that people are aware. The majority of people are aware that it really comes down to consent. Usually when you talk to young men, and I run Girl Gets Up Africa, I work with a lot of young girls, right? And they misunderstand. They think that rape is only when there's violence and coercion and the elements of surprise in there, but not you just saying that, stop, no, I'm not ready for this, I don't want to do this. So maybe I'm just saying we should broaden the conversation, increase awareness, let people understand that no means no.
Agreed. But you know, once again, my wife is a social worker.
Yeah.
And then when you have that interaction with her, with respect to rape cases, and rape cases that are not being prosecuted. Because a lot of cases are in the courts, people will come and tell her that I've been raped, but because of our social stigma, you know. So that is something that we all, including the media, the general public, we all have to come together and make sure that we have a broader conversation to make sure that that stigma. Because in Ghana, when somebody says he's raped, and the public gets to know that this person was raped, it becomes something else. So it's something that we all have to look at.
What about GJ pursuing, going to the ICC to pursue, what's it called?
Ahmed's case.
Ahmed Swale.
I think Ahmed's case, Ahmed's case, it's been long overdue because it's about
that's 2019.
Yeah, almost 4 years plus, and we still don't have justice for. And I'm passionate about Ahmed's case because before I became an engineer, I was once a journalist, just like you. I was on radio advocating. And I think that what journalists go through in line of duty, this is what happened to him. And it's been 4 years. The Ghana police is not talking. The Attorney General is not talking, and I'll take this opportunity to plead with His Excellency and then our new Attorney General, Dominic, to make sure that wherever justice is, we can make sure that Ahmed and the family get justice.
Right.
Wissy? Yeah, I mean, on the subject matter of rape, we have to understand that when it comes to the whole conversation about crime, it is on basis of jurisdiction, where a particular state or nation defines what constitutes a crime within their laws. So, for instance, what may be a crime here, maybe if you go to, let's say, a country like Togo, may not necessarily be a crime based on what has been defined within their statutes. So when you want to have a conversation about, for instance, a subject like rape, certainly we may have to make reference to the definition of rape within our jurisdiction, particularly when it comes to the Criminal Offences Act, the Act 29 per se. So I'll just, with your permission, just read it. So, the definition is Section 97. Section 97 largely talks about rape, but it talks about the punishment. But the definition of rape is in Section 98 of the Criminal Offences Act, where rape is defined as the carnal knowledge of a female of 16 years or above without her consent. So the key elements here has to do with the carnal knowledge of a female. It means that a man cannot be raped within that.
That's an interesting aspect of the law. It talks about penetration and all that, which means that technically
a man cannot be.
If someone puts on
also,
but the men who say we will complain. We are not.
You speak for yourself.
Relax. No, a lot of the men are not complaining. So, the framers of the law admits that that is a non-issue. Maybe in the future it become an issue.
I think it's an issue.
But as at when these laws were being drafted, the framers of the law thought that men could not be raped within the jurisdictions of Ghana. And I think one also important element had to do with the element of age and consent. Because when it says 16 years or above, which means that when you are below 16 years, consent does not matter.
Indeed.
When you have sex with somebody who is below 16 years, essentially whether or not the person consented, that will constitute defilement.
Okay.
But when the person is more than 16 years plus, the key item or the key element that the law will look at it, whether or not consent. And of course, we were discussing consent. There has been a lot of decided cases that have suggested that consent is consent, to the extent that even when you are trusting and the person said consent has been revoked, stop. In the interest of your own safety and your own security, you have to stop and come out humbly before you are charged for
for But where I'll add, while I've made mention of this very point, the law is also practical in that sense.
Yes.
In terms of, because you can't just, I mean, for him, I envy him because he spoke about his own situation. You have strong negotiation skills then, because it means you can maneuver. You have ways of negotiating to ensure that.
I mean,
you get to the, but you can't also weaponize sex if you act in a way that suggests that it's more like a trap, like, you know,
like entrapment.
Then it becomes a whole different
no,
issue.
the law
But
doesn't
generally,
care.
on consent, a no is a no.
Yeah, the law doesn't care whether or not you were seduced, whether or not you were invited. The most important thing is that was there consent. At the point that you were trusting, was there consent? If consent had been revoked, then, of course, the law would then look at the age of the person and whether or not the person is a female. I'm using whether or not the person is a female because within this 21st century, there has been a lot of conversation on sexuality. Then, but of course, when it comes to the whole subject of rape, the whole issue is consent. So in the case of Ghana, I mean, we have fine laws, generally, like we have always been talking about. I mean, a lot has always been bordered on compliance and general performance on compliance, and of course, how the criminal justice system has fared. But
so we need to review this, yes?
no, we don't have a problem when it comes to the laws on rape.
No, I'm talking about the men. The men are not included in this.
Who said the men have complained?
you know, even the bit about a natural carnal knowledge and all of that.
Yeah.
I think there are areas that still need to be tweaked,
Absolutely.
including
for
the
clarity.
bit about, including the bit about men, because men also get raped. But in our jurisdiction, like you said, in another jurisdiction, a man can be raped. Here, you technically can't be.
In Ghana, the law is to the effect that men cannot be raped. And
so it needs a review.
I think you're too excited about that.
You are enjoying this too much.
No, I'm not enjoying. I'm not enjoying. But you see, I mean, just a quick point on. I'm not enjoying. But you see, every law largely has a history, and at every point, the framers of the law sought to cure a certain mischief upon which that law will obviously come into existence. For instance, if you look at the PNDC law 111, there was a problem with spousal properties, and for that matter, the framers of the law intended to cure that. If we look at within our society, I mean, doing an objective analysis, on what basis will a man say that a lady overcame me, overpowered me, and raped me without my consent?
But see, what happens is that...
No, you should also consider the biological
context. In our cultural context, usually if a man gets beaten at home, the possibility or the chance of talking about it is practically negligible.
So this one is beating. The facts are there. We are talking about rape. We are talking about
It's all abuse. It's all under the umbrella of
I'm just saying that because in the same line, just as a man wouldn't come out to practically most of the time say that, oh, Mary Bome, or something of the sort, or my sister has beaten me up. In the same vein, if a man were to technically be raped, I mean,
have you considered our anatomical features and the biological disposition?
If you look at the Dofsu stories and
that.
others that have come through over time, you realize that the men, some of them even, it takes a lot to even bring their stories.
Now, the focus of the discussion is rape.
fore.
And rape, you have to consider even the biological and anatomical features
especially
in homes
the law need a review.
with these helps and the rest. I know a lot of people who say that they lost boys when they were boys. How they lost their virginity and all of that.
No, that is
elderly.
The law covers that. So the law covers that. No, the law covers that. Not as rape. No, the law covers that, but not as rape. You know, rape, the age is even significant.
Yes, but I'm saying that technically, if we are to use the bipolar approach or something where what we are defining for men is the same we are defining for women. These have to be looked at as well. That
the law have to be reviewed.
That male adults could be raped.
Yes.
It seems impossible to you, eh?
Male adults, no, you see,
they can't be raped.
Within this conversation, you also have to even consider the anatomical features of both. When you talk about penile penetration, on what basis will... I mean, if a man does not want to do anything, certainly the expectation is that in terms of even the...
He can work himself up?
This is on TV.
It's getting too graphic.
No. Now we need experts. I can only speak to the law in terms of
the details. No, it's fine. It's too early. I'm tired.
Because you were held at gunpoint, and they said you had to do this, otherwise you were going to be shot.
People do it.
Yes.
Gunpoint.
People are threatened.
When a man is held at gunpoint, I do not think any attempt to rape such man will be successful. Let's go to
ICC.
The men understand.
Let's go to ICC and Ahmed Swali.
Well. I mean, like I indicated, we admit in principle that crime should not have a place anywhere to the extent that we lose lives. And I am also of the view that when it comes to, for instance, our state institutions and our criminal justice system is something that must be looked at. It is almost appearing that beyond the fact that it's almost easy to commit a crime in this country, it's also become so easy to walk away with it. Because from 2019 till now, it's quite a longer time that we believe that at least there should have been some arrest, if not even some prosecution on that. It doesn't matter who is involved or who happens to be the casualty or victim. The most important thing is that nobody must lose his life in the field of his work. Okay. And I support this call. I am of the view that a lot of pressure, both locally and internationally, should come on, the police institution. I am reluctant to politicize this matter because if you look at our history and our experiences, as soon as we politicize any issue in this country, you realize that the institution that is responsible for addressing it find a very nice way of running away or carrying out of the whole conversation. So yes, it's a good call. Of course, bottom line is that whichever leadership will still also have to take it upon themselves and also help advance such a call. Okay. And then we see, for me, the most important thing is that we have to bring finality to this issue. There have to be questions that ought to be answered. There have to be clarification to this issue so that we know that within ourselves and as a country, there has been a closure to this matter. And I'm sure it will serve all of us our interest.
Let's move on to other stories.
I wanted to add a bit to what he said. There are people who have come out to say that they have evidence. Politicians, journalists, but I ask myself, what is going on? And as he said, anything that we politicize it becomes something that we always, because the person who is doing the investigation, because of politics and because of his position, will try and make sure that he is always on the side of the politician. Yeah. I think that a time has come in our country that right is right, wrong is wrong. Okay. Me and you were in this country when A+ said just recently that if people dare him, he will tell the investigators or the appropriate quarters who are involved. Yes. Why don't you invite such people and find out that if you have an evidence to people who had the murder of Ahmed Swali, they will be taken on. So I think that we need to sit up on this. And this is a test case for the new Attorney General. Right. And is somebody that all of us are looking up to make sure that the judiciary is reset. Okay. So definitely this case should be part of it. All
right. Let's get into your paper. You know Kweko also paper, he said he works with you. You're a fantastic sports journalist.
Yes.
Okay. Let's get into your paper now.
I won the best commentator in Western region.
Okay. That's the Overseer. So you can walk us through the stories on the front page. We pick one that piques your interest and we discuss.
Okay, so we will waste no time. That's Kisel Atufosen.
Right.
And then, I would definitely go here. I will champion youth-centered initiative to drive job creation. George Opariado. Right. Bost new MD set sight on innovation and collaboration and excellence. And I will advocate for paternity leave. That's the new gender minister.
Yeah.
So I think I'll take
For the youth.
For George's story. He's somebody that I've worked closely with as part of the National Youth Working Committee. It's like we are a cabinet of the youth organizer. So almost every program that we championed for us to win power, we were all part of it. Our chairman is Okai Minta. And George Opariado is a fantastic young man. For the first time in the history of Ghana, we came up with a youth manifesto. And if you look at our youth manifesto, there are a lot of job opportunities for us young people. The reason why we did a youth manifesto is to make sure that we bridge that gap, because everybody knows that youth unemployment in Ghana is a national security threat. And George, now being the minister, we all know that...
well, yet to be confirmed, but okay.
But we believe that he'll be confirmed.
Right.
With his fantastic vetting yesterday, we all believe that he will be confirmed.
Okay.
And there are a number of programs in our youth manifesto that we will champion in the next few days when he's being confirmed as the minister.
Great.
We wish him well, and then all of us will make sure that we support him for the job that we need, for the decent pay job that we need for young people of Ghana to come to pass.
Thank you. We don't have time, but I do want to ask Kwesi Kwarteng why he was excited about paternity leave.
I mean, it's a good call. In this era of universal human rights, where everybody is demanding for equality and equity, I think it's also proper that men...
What are you going to do with the leave? Because from what I hear, they don't stay home. They don't stay home to actually help the mothers to cater for the children.
Oh, we do.
You do?
Yes, of course, we do.
I mean, that's a very...
Oh, no, when this
happened... What are you going to
happened,
do with the time? I mean,
you're supposed to be helping take care of the children, the babies.
No, but when you ask what are you going to do with the time, it's a bit... In other jurisdictions, in Norway and other places, the men... Just as here in Ghana, I think sometimes we demonize the situation, demonize men too much. Like, what are they? I know a lot of men who nowadays are very helpful at home. Because if you are not, the postpartum issues and all of those, a lot of women are going through stuff. So I think this is a good thing if they can work it out. Because usually it's not about saying it. It's about the detail of executing it and ensuring that people don't abuse the system. And ensuring that, because in the end, what is the...
How is that different from what I'm saying, though?
What is it meant to serve? It is meant to ensure that society becomes better. You have children who are, better. You see, it's a bit... I find it a bit denigrating
really want to hear Kwesi Kwarteng
when I wanted to say something on that, which is what I am saying, that let it not come out as though men play no role at home, or that when women give birth, this is going to be a free ride for men to just play around.
I mean, such a question, if you ask me, is usually anchored on speculative assumptions. Largely from fears that even if we want to put empirical data on it, may not even exist. Because a lot of us, if we really look into our lives, we appreciate the roles that our fathers have played in our lives.
Yes.
So I am of the view that, I mean, no matter how such a question is funded, at the end of the day, like Benjamin said, it depends on the detail of such initiative, the details of such an initiative, where maybe it requires that, or it proposes A, B, C, or D. But of course, we all know that whichever way, men also needs to be part of the process. They've all been part of the process. The child birth is not just an event. And it's also not a one-party affair.
Right.
Even the emotional support that the men will also give is something that...
So we need paternity leave.
I mean, it's a conversation that has come on board.
Right.
It's something that we need to discuss and weigh all the pros and cons. We also have to look at it, the impact on also jobs. Because if at the end of the day, myself and my wife, we are in the same company, and my wife has maternity leave, will a private company be willing to also give?
But the law is law.
Yeah, but I mean, the law will always be law. But you see, people always have also a creative way of going around it. It's even the more reason why you may have a subtle company policy where they are saying that we are not going to employ more women. Because if we employ, for instance, 100 women here, and let's say 20 get pregnant, I mean, hypothetically, within a year, it means that I'm going to pay people who literally are not working and still have to look at other workers. So in this context, we are also going to add the men. We also have to look at, I mean, all those border conversations. But of course, I mean, it's something that has just come, is good for consideration. Me, I'm for it. I'm here to start giving birth officially. Unofficially.
if I may just add, research-wise, in Norway, for example, parents are entitled to a total of 12 months leave in connection with the birth and after the birth. These 12 months include the mother's right to leave for up to 12 weeks during the pregnancy and 6 weeks of leave reserved for the mother after birth. In addition to the first 12 months, each of the parents is entitled to 1 year of leave for each birth. So these are jurisdictions that have advanced in terms of so many things. But if we aspire, then we might as well aspire by learning
best practices,
and then you apply. Because you don't just go and do 12 months. You get it.
Yeah.
It took time for them to get there. But if you're starting with 3 or 4 months, how do you manage it to ensure?
Maybe we can do 2 now that in our manifesto we promised that maternity leave will be 4 months.
Yeah.
So maybe we can start from there. 2.
We need it.
Then we need it.
Yeah, so that our
children will not go. With you, but it's okay. No, it's not about me right now. Let's get into the new
just a quick one. You see, at that very tender age,
yeah,
I am of the view that bonding is very crucial. We need it so that subsequently our children don't come and tell us that when they were growing, we were not there. We have to be there.
Our fathers didn't get paternity leave, but they were there for us.
But I mean, there are also instances where people are saying that their parents were not there for them. But for us who want to be part of it,
you can also look at it from the other side. I work in the mine. When my wife gave birth, there was a bit of something that I needed to help. If you don't have paternity leave, it means that you need to go for leave of absence, isn't it? So I think that it's a good conversation that the minister has brought up. Let's look at it. We can, because it is not every birth that goes.
Yeah.
So if you need a father to be around, so it's something that we have to look at it.
And even in practice, people are leaving their offices to go and take care of this responsibility. So it's important we formalize it. You want to, my headlines?
Yeah, your newspaper.
Oh, sack Adubuahin now. Kidnapping suspect, money laundering suspect, corruption suspect, human rights abuse suspect, blasphemy suspect. I mean, I don't know who this Adubuahin is.
I knew we would have a good one on this one.
I don't know who he is, and I've not read the story into detail, but...
Just give us a bit of that story. This man don't suffer.
Why? He was heading one of the state institutions?
Yes, just read the story. You will understand.
Oh, I see. So, next page.
But this paper, the New Republic, has come through with some pretty interesting...
How can you have headline just like that? With all this... allegations, kidnapping suspect, one person. Kidnapping suspect, money laundering suspect, corruption suspect, human rights abuse suspect.
The Emirates ladies situation, was it Emirates or something of the sort?
Yeah.
I think he's one of those. Yeah, unfortunately. But you see, like we will say, if you are not adducing evidence,
yeah, they will just be
put.
Yesterday also, it was a spy ring that had been uncovered.
I mean,
around
this
Mahama.
newspaper has been putting out some very.
But you can't find the story is not inside. The story is not inside. It's just.
Yeah.
No, let's be sure that they've put this headline there and there's no story. Like
so, you see, Saka Dubuahin now. I mean,
that's the banner.
Ordinarily, there should have been a page number. Now we are going to go through
let's do this well.
This place it has pictures of the ministers who has been
because it would be something else.
Mahama
had a banner headline like this and no story.
Karen's terrifying ordeal of this one is husband and wife issue, who has nothing to do with that. This one is Ghana's first vice president. I can see Sami Jemfi and Mr. Wu appointments committee.
We are conducting this exercise because this would be something very...
Levy remover. This one is normal advertisement. This one, reducing the cost of living, has no relationship with... Kaswa Ritual has no relationship. Reducing cost of living. Then international news. White House, Trump and co. They are issues.
Let's keep going.
And this one is also an ad.
That is an ad.
entertainment news, sports news. So
I guess the story is
that's a teaser.
Kidnapping suspect and the rest. Wow.
No, but it's just the banner headline.
No,
it doesn't have any story.
I'm literally saying that is the story.
Wow.
Do you get it?
The news about New Republic.
And who is the editor?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Wow.
But do you get the point I'm trying to make?
And there's no story.
Or is it a case that maybe some of the
maybe it's a teaser. Maybe the story will come in the next
Well, if anyone is watching us from that team, let us know what's happened here.
No, but you can't.
But the pages are also intact.
It's not. This is not.
This is some propagandist agenda. But let's move on. Daily Graphic.
So why did you put this one in front of me?
The die was cast.
You have a new wines in your party.
Wow.
Well, if it had fallen in front of me, I would have to read it. So.
Wow.
Anyway, that's interesting. I just suspected when you started. Anyway. Daily Graphic. Government to provide incentives for agri-businesses to produce raw materials. Trade Minister designate discloses. Reduce ministries' portfolios. Good experts say, but urge caution. No tolerance for arrogance, disrespect, President Mahama tells appointees. Affirmative Action Act requires more resources to full implementation. Minister designate for gender. UNDP Ghana's YAI transforms lives through youth-led innovation. On the back page, Kludjeson Municipal Assembly records 200% growth in property rate, and EU and the Netherlands launch youth empowerment initiative. Let's celebrate what is due. So, the Kludjeson Municipal Assembly, from an average performance of 3,504,222 cedis and 30 pesos recorded from 2019 to 2023 and 2024, the Assembly had 12,355,844, which translated to 252.6% growth over the 5-year average. We salute them, and of course, that Municipal Assembly. Pictured there, Emmanuel Basie is the Municipal Coordinating Director. Then, I mean, we've done the story about no tolerance for arrogance and the rest. So let me.
Okay. It's something that we've discussed already. Okay.
I mean, we broached the subject. If you want to talk about it, no wahala. But 3 governance experts have described President Mahama's lean government proposition as a healthy stride in the country's governance space, cautioning, however, that it will not be without drawbacks. They agree that President John Dramani Mahama's commitment to appointing only 60 ministers and compressing the sectors into 23 ministries have enormous advantages, although initial implementation challenges cannot be overlooked. A governance fellow at the Institute of Economic Affairs, Dr. Samuel Kofi Dakwa, said the transition might induce disruptions as employees adapted to new roles and responsibilities, which could lead to temporary inefficiencies. Then, University of Education Winneba Gilbert Ahimfo Ado insisted that although this approach presented significant benefits, some challenges needed to be carefully addressed. And finally, the president of the Chamber for Local Governance, Dr. Richard Fiadomo, argued, however, that the reduction of the ministries would not affect the governance of the country negatively because of their realignment by the president. So different strokes for different folks, different thoughts on these matters. The UN seeks $910 million for humanitarian crisis in Nigeria's northeast. This is a story of worry to me. This one, Alliance of Sahel states to form 5,000 troop military unit. The Sahelian states are they've detached themselves from ECOWAS and they are gradually going to the other end.
Wow.
And now they are forming a 5,000 troop military unit. This goes to dig in, solidify their departure. And I do not know what it would take, if anything, to get them back. Some would say maybe a restoration of a democracy in those places. Trump administration to criminally probe officials, and President Donald Trump's administration has directed U.S. prosecutors to criminally investigate state and local officials who attempt to resist its immigration enforcement efforts, according to a memo to Justice Department staff. It goes on and on, but this is like American oral in a way. Basically, that's it. And then the bit about maternity and paternity leave and all of that. Those are the crucial stories. I'll start with you first, Kwesi.
Yeah, I mean, let me start from the no tolerance for arrogance and disrespect. I mean, it's clear that there is a temptation that comes with the territory of being in power. And of course, that is the whole point about arrogance.
Speaking from experience, I like that.
He says the days of gaslighting are over.
I mean, you see, the point is, like I indicated, you guys have the goodwill. From June, that is where the reality was setting.
By June, dear.
But the point I'm saying is that it is very natural. It's not only even at those in political office. There is that general temptation that comes with the territory of being in power, and of course, that is a temptation of arrogance. Because I mean, Kwesi Kwarteng, ordinarily, let's assume you were with your friends. All of a sudden, you are in a recognized position. You are given certain privileges, accorded certain respect. I mean, certainly,
that shouldn't change you.
I'm not saying that should change you. I'm only saying that there is that temptation. That's why I said there is a temptation. But I wanted to learn the greatest trademark of every great leader is humility.
Sure.
So I understand that. But I mean, we all have seen how power has corrupted people. And of course, I mean, they say absolute power also corrupts. So, I mean, it's something that, like I indicated earlier, that in terms of managing people, the optics, particularly the John Mahama-led administration, is something that he's done so well with that. But you see, when you were quick to jab me, that shouldn't come. You see, let's throw back, right, from even the days of Nkrumah. I mean, we can even pick the recent one. I recall in 2016, when terms like baby with sharp teeth and all those things came, it's just been systemic. That every year, every day, every year out, when governments lose power, it's almost like these are the same issues.
Right.
So
you'd have to land on that
yeah,
point.
Yeah. So I'm saying that it's a problem that we may have to deal with. But I am happy that from the onset, it became quite topical that the government are saying that, well, we have to balance the optics. We have to look at the mood of the nation. We also have to look at our body language and everything. Because at the end of the day, that is what the ordinary Ghanaian seeks to see from the leader. And like I indicated, we can only wish you well and hope that the way you've started, you proceed with that.
Eben, though you may not want to be a member of parliament, how about an MC? Is that something you would embrace if you got the slot?
Sure, I've already gone for vetting for MC.
Look at me. You've taken the wind out of my sail.
In my constituency, so we are waiting for the shortlisted applicants and then we take it out from there. But I was even coming there because I have already gone for primaries before to be a member of parliament and it didn't work out. People are trying to say that I cannot work with my new MP. And this is somebody that we all helped to become the MP for the first time in the Hunter West constituency. And from the beginning, I was there with her. And I'm praying that if the appointment comes,
things will work out, right?
No, she's my sister. I've already been working with her. We all supported her to win power. And I know that, God willing, if my name comes up as the new MC for Hunter West, we are going to make sure that we consolidate the seat in Hunter. We're going to work hard, fix our routes, get jobs for the youth, and then we consolidate the seat for her.
All right, we have to go.
Hunter West.
Before I hand over to Sweetie, Dumakawe David says, paternity leave is laudable. My wife recently gave birth. Every night we struggles together till daybreak. She keeps awake from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m., and I take over from that time till 5 a.m., and you still have to go to work. Sweetie Abachi.
I think the men will come for me, but I mean, I am entitled to my opinion. I don't think you guys need paternity leave.
Oh, sweetie.
But on the bit of, yes, I know it's very unfair. On the bit about John Mahama's comment about not being arrogant and all that, and something you said about power corrupts, absolute power, absolutely. I think that money and power doesn't necessarily make you evil or otherwise.
Sure.
It just reveals or emboldens you to live out your truth. So if you're an arrogant person at heart, you just didn't have the money and the power to demonstrate that. And so maybe this is just a word of caution to the new administration to be measured in everything that they do. Those who join us for the conversation this morning, Kwesi Kwarteng, former spokesperson for the Ministry of Education and a private legal practitioner. We also have Engineer Ebenezer Eidu, member of the NDC National Youth Working Committee. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Do stay with us because sports comes up next, and with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi.
Good morning. Let's do sports now here on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Now, Sports Minister Designate Kofi Adams has vowed to turn around the fortunes of the sector if approved by Parliament. His selection by the President, John Mahama, came as a surprise to many, with names like Neil Lante van der Poel, Francis Dodu, and Benoon Mensah initially emerging as front-runners for the position. However, the Member of Parliament for Boem constituency, who now awaits vetting by the Appointments Committee, says he is prepared to ensure a holistic growth of sports in the country. He spoke to Joy Sports editor, Fentio Tahiru. Fentio.
I'm not one of the real faces of sports when it comes to even my political party, the National Democratic Congress. But you see, where the leader sits, he sees what everybody has. And depending on the agenda that he has as a leader, he will think that at this moment, this is the person that can do the trick. It's like a coach, a technical person sitting at the bench and watching a match. They do some substitutions. Sometimes you who have not followed the start of the game to the point of the substitution may not understand. But he has read the game and realized that, no, this is the person that when I take out and bring this one, the game will go the way I have always wanted to play it earlier that I'm not getting. So His Excellency the President knows what it is that he set out to do for the Sports and Recreation Ministry and feels that, well, I'm the best fit for that role now. And I've accepted it willingly. I've accepted a challenge. And I think that together with all stakeholders, when we have done with the vetting processes, we will engage and see how the vision of His Excellency the President will materialize. I really enjoy various forms of sport, but of course, boxing is the big one for me. I remember those times when we had the likes of Azuma, the I, Curtis, and then the rest boxing. You have to stay awake. And I will not sleep. Not that type of not sleep because you have drunk coffee or those kind of things. No. I will do things to keep awake just so to be able to watch from the beginning, from the base promotional fights all the way to the penultimate fight that will happen that night. And so boxing is for me the main thing. I've heard people say that because I said I love boxing, maybe I will ignore football. Or no, it's not going to be like that. Once confirmed, we want to see every aspect of sports grow. And together with the stakeholders like you, we will do it. I say sports is lucky. Sports is one thing that every day we get free mention on virtually every platform. So why are we not growing? Why are we not getting the right funding for sports? Is it the case that maybe we are not engaging those who are doing the meshing the way we should engage them so that the meshing will be appropriate? We need to sit together and see that so that we can utilize that free time.
Now, the Ghana Football Association's Catch Them Young policy of scouting for referees at a young age and nurturing them into top officials appears to be bearing fruit. The policy, which was launched in 2020, has seen several 13 to 16-year-old referees officiating juvenile matches in preparation for their progress to the very top. My colleague Lawrence Bedu has more in this special report.
August 2025 will mark exactly 5 years since the launch of the Ghana Football Association's Catch Them Young refereeing policy. The initiative targeted identifying, educating, and training young talents aged 13 to 16 to officiate in juvenile matches within their regions.
If you want good referees, boys and girls, it's always important for you to start that story very early. Hence, my reference to Proverbs 22:6. We want a situation where we would aggressively comb the woods of Ghana, find young girls and boys with the right levels of passion and bring them close or bring them into the Football Association at the regional level and add value by way of training.
Since its introduction, interest in the policy has grown with each year that has gone by. In July 2024, the GFA revealed about 2,000 young boys and girls have been beneficiaries of the program. Intensive training, constant practice, and timely investments mean there have been progress over the years. These young boys and girls have had the opportunity to participate and officiate in competitive tournaments, including the KGL U17 tournament, the Elite U15 Girls Championship, as well as the Division 1 League Super Cup.
It has not been easy, but the referees being sober and committed and then respectful to the job, they've adhered to whatever training drills that we've embedded into them. And as you can all see, for young referees to officiate such games, that should tell you that Ghana, the future is bright.
The Women's Premier Super Cup and the Women's FA Cup are competitions that have also utilized the knowledge of the young referees. Betha Amuakon, who is in her final year at the secondary school, says the project has opened opportunities for her that wouldn't have come on a normal day.
It means a lot to me because through this program, the Catch Them Young program, I've been able to develop my skills. I've got to know that there's something inside me that if I bring it out, people will see and appreciate what God also have done for me. And I'm really grateful through this activity. I've got to meet a lot of people. I've also got to go to a lot of places which I have no idea that I can even go there, you see. So it means a lot, and through this I've gotten monies, some things to support my academic work, so it's really a great opportunity for me.
A level 200 student at the University of Professional Studies, Andy Afote Anan, dreams of being remembered as one of the Ghanaian referees to be on the global stage.
I'll say I want to take it to the next level because looking at refereeing can, put you into many places, have many investors or make you even an ambassador somewhere. Or because looking at other referees from other countries, they have an ambassadorial role, maybe Puma and all that. And also I want to see myself part of international referees. Although we have FIFA referees in Ghana, but sometimes when it comes to World Cup and all that, we don't see our referees part of that. So I just want to pick up that belt and one day probably so find myself there.
Over the years, girls' interest in the policy has been on the rise. Referees manager Alexander Nikwe Kote says the idea is to reproduce someone capable of achieving the feats of Mercy Tego, who became Ghana's first female referee during the 2007 Women's World Cup.
We want to target girls and boys. The focus was not to be only on the boys, but then we also felt that girls must also be given opportunities. You understand? And we saw a lot of our girls, or in Africa, African girls or women going to the World Cup stage. And we are saying that why can't we also do it? And so that is what motivated us. That is what pushed us to get a lot of girls into the system. And that is our focus, and that is what we are going to do. We want to get a lot more of the girls into the system.
It will take a bit of time to get to the level the policy seeks to achieve. But from every indication, the project seems to be going to plan.
And that's your sports on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Have a good morning.
Welcome back on the AM show. Now let's bring you AM business for today, because savings and loans institutions have contributed to Ghana's economy, especially to the small and medium-scale enterprises, But the sector is bedeviled with some challenges, and James Shen has been engaging the Chief Executive Officer of Opportunity International Savings and Loans and former board chair of the Ghana Association of Savings and Loans Companies, Kwame Owusu-Boateng, today on AM Business.
Categorized as a non-bank financial institution in our part of the world, savings and loans companies are backbone to massive economic growth and development. But this sector has been affected by some challenges. I mean, they stay afloat, but no matter what, there are some form of challenges that affect their operations. To help me better understand what is really going on in this particular space, as the former board chair of the Ghana Association of Savings and Loans, and also the Chief Executive Officer of Opportunity International Savings and Loan Companies, in the person of Kwame Owusu-Boateng. Mr. Boateng, we've started a new government. We've seen the new government. We've seen what happened from the old government. How is the year going so far for you guys?
Thank you once again, and thanks for the opportunity to share perspectives about the sector. Firstly, it's very early in the new year, very early in the life of a new government to appreciate the kind of dynamics that are going to come to bear and how that is going to impact on our work. But there are huge expectations, given where we have come from, the periods and the latter part of 2018 through 2020, the banking crisis and its impact on the sector. Just when we're recovering, then COVID with its whole global impact also affecting. And just when most institutions have come out, then we have to go through another change of government. Of course, largely good for the country, for the peace that we've had so far. So it's interesting, but exciting.
Now, talking about your recovery from COVID, the financial sector cleanup in 2017, 2019, all the last year, you raised some concerns during one of your annual general meetings with respect to the fact that you spoke about NPLs. You've also spoken about some payments that need to be done and all of that. But I'll come to that. But let's just look at the state of this particular sector from last year to the first quarter of this year as we find ourselves now.
The sector has 26 institutions as at the end of 2024. Out of these 26, I must say that a few of them may have some few challenges, but there's been progress from 2020 up to date in terms of sustainable institutions that are practicing the sector. There's been progress in terms of the governance framework, the governance structures that most institutions are imbibing, the risk management framework, and all. So I would say that comparatively over the past 4 years, there's been much improvement, given the work that the association has also done together with the central bank in helping the institutions to come up or to improve on their various operational activities.
Within the first week of this year, your executive secretary for the association, Tinubu Akodia, raised concerns of some savings and loans companies being collapsing or will be collapsing based on some NPLs and all of that. What is the state of NPLs as we speak now?
The sector has an average of about 14% NPL ratio across the 26 institutions that I talked about. It's not that the institutions are collapsing, but the impact of NPLs on the institutions, because it erodes shareholder capital, it erodes shareholder value, it erodes profitability and all. And therefore, it's a critical piece, especially for a microfinance sector like we have. So your ability as individual institution and as a sector to deal with NPLs inures to the benefit of the institution in terms of sustainability. So that's where I believe my executive secretary, Mr. Tinubu Akodia, was coming from.
But you've made us understand some of these NPLs are from the public sector workers, but some are also of the concerns that, okay, savings and loans came in to support SMEs and all of that. Why don't you revisit your first love?
There are different categories of savings and loans companies in terms of product mix. There are some that focus largely on salary loans, and that's their core product. There are some, like my institution, that has a balance between salary loans, which is a very small percentage of our portfolio, not even up to 10%, compared to agriculture, education, commerce, and etc. that we focus on. So it depends on each individual institution's strategy. For those that have salary loans or the controller loans as a core product, they have been really hit by the exodus of public sector workers. And that's why we raised that issue during the AGM. And Tinubu also emphasized it a week ago.
I know you are a former board chair now, but how are you guys handling this public sector? Are we to expect you withdraw, I mean, giving out loans to these people, or there will be a certain quota? What exactly should we expect? I mean, you're a former board chair. Definitely, your expertise within this space should tell us something.
What we expect to see is that there will be somewhat stringent assessment processes for various categories of salaried workers. Of course, it's not all salaried workers that are emigrating from Ghana. We have particular sectors that are living in large quantities. Those are the ones that various institutions will have different approaches in engaging potential clients who want to have access to funding from them. But it's not a blanket situation where you're going to say that all salary workers are going to be barred from accessing loans from such institutions. So for each category or each sector, there will be specific dynamics in terms of how the due diligence is done to ensure that depositors' money are also protected. Remember, the loans that we are giving out are also coming from depositors. So if we are losing it to salary workers who are traveling out of the country, then that erodes the depositors' money that we also hold.
What are these stringent measures? Is there a collaboration with the Ghana Airports Company, or what exactly?
Oh, not really. We have a very strong collaboration with the controller, accountant general that does the deductions and the disbursements, and also the particular institutions where these staff work. Sometimes there are guarantees from these institutions that cover such losses and etc. So those are the kind of frameworks that we're going to use to help protect the institutions.
What's the role of the regulator in ensuring that, or in basically addressing some of these challenges?
Well, when it comes to non-performing loans, the regulator has standards, directives that govern our operations. They set the benchmarks that we need to work with and etc. So institutions are supposed to work within those frameworks. So once you work within those frameworks and the risk management frameworks, then you expect that your standards, especially for non-performing loans, as we're talking about, is going to be within your risk appetite. Every institution has its own capacity in terms of risk that you want to take for particular sectors, for particular products. But normally what the regulator will do is to give you the guidelines, the regulatory framework. We have permissible activities for savings and loans companies. Once you are within the permissible activities that you are licensed to do, the regulator doesn't have a problem with you. So once you design your products, or we design our products in line with the permissible activities and the corporate governance directives and all the directives issued by the central bank, that's what the central bank does to guide us into our operations.
There have also been issues of high interest rates, especially when you visit these market women, you're being told, interest was wrong. What is amounting to that particular high interest rate from your end?
The interest rate is a function of the market conditions. When you have treasury bills at 28%, and the government is borrowing from the public at 28%, then we are going deep into the markets. Remember, look at where savings and loans companies are located. Sometimes in the very remote communities where some universal banks would want to go. And therefore, the cost of operation is so high. If you don't have a very, very robust and efficient model, your costs will far outweigh the gains that you make from doing these loans. And most of these savings and loans companies have the mission to serve clients at the base of the pyramid. And therefore, serving those small ticket transactions, your cost of operations, rentals, everything in this country is going up. Inflation went all the way to the roof, about 50%. You have foreign denominated services related to IT and cybersecurity. If you are converting hard-earned CD to pay for these services, definitely it will impact on your cost of operations. And that is why the cost to the final customer at the retail end also is high, as is being indicated. But what we have to do continuously is to improve on our operations, improve on our efficiency levels, and cut back some of the costs so that we can pass the benefit to the customer. And I think that is improving. In the past, you could see some savings and loans charging above 60% and extra. Now I see some of my colleagues charging or issuing out loans within the 30% mark. So giving market rates and doing within the 30% mark, I think that's an improvement, but there's still more room for improvement.
I want some bit of education here. As the sector also being affected that much by the high policy rate, because it's currently around 27%.
Yeah, so the fact is that no savings and loans company to date can borrow from the central bank at near policy rate. It's only the universal banks that can borrow from. That is the law that we have. So if a savings and loans company doesn't have adequate savings from customers and wants to lend, it has to borrow from the universal banks. Remember, the universal banks will borrow from the central bank plus a premium and issue that loan to the savings and loans company. So you can hardly compete with a universal bank when it comes to interest rate. And that's one of the fundamental flaws of our...
Do you think the regulator should probably find a way to deal with some of it?
Yeah, we have had conversations on this, and I remember during my time as chair of the association, we had engagements with the regulators on this. But to date, we haven't had a solution. So it's something that I believe the sector is going to pick up strongly with the new government, and we'll see how it goes. Because if we can also borrow directly from the central bank, then it gives us opportunity to also lower the interest rate for the customers, because we are accessing liquidity at a relatively lower cost compared to what we are doing now. Deposit mobilization is very expensive. And you know, we use the SUSU methodology with our field officers, mobile bankers, all over the country to mobilize these savings. And it comes at a cost, it comes at a risk. And therefore, when you pass on these deposits as loans, definitely it's highly priced compared to what a universal bank would do.
But were you guys pushing that much? Pushing the regulator to make sure all these were done?
We did our best. There's an extent to which we could go.
But what was the feedback coming from the regulator?
It's more about a structural issue that's not easily done overnight. So there has to be some continuous engagement for a better understanding of the implications of that and how that will to our benefit going forward if that is reversed.
Now, let me bring you to the conversation of technology. I mean, for some time now, you've been pushing for technology within these institutions. What is the relationship between your space or the savings and loans companies and these fintech companies?
There are increasing levels of collaborations going on because, as I said earlier on, if you don't improve on the efficiency of your operations, you cannot really sustain your business, especially serving the clients, serving them in terms of the reach, the locations where we have to find them, and also convenience that we need to create for them. And therefore, I've seen that a number of institutions within the sector are embracing these fintechs and developing products and services tailor-made in line with their models for the customers. We, for instance, currently are partnered with fully digitalize our deposit services, where we have a USSD channel, and customers can access us from any location all over the world, not just in Ghana. So you don't need to go into our banking hall to access your savings. We're doing a similar project for our loan a solution so that clients can access loans from any location at all. And I know a number of savings and loans companies are doing similar collaborations.
Talking about technology and these fintechs definitely comes with challenges, cyber risk and all of that. We've seen most banks these days campaign against scammers online and all of that. Are you guys being also affected by such situations?
Thankfully, the central bank has a cyber security directive that governs all institutions, including banks, savings and loans companies. And that is helping us to assure that our systems are robust to prevent such cyber attacks. You know, dealing with cyber attacks is a continuous thing, and there are different stakeholders. You have your internal systems and processes, you have the customer, and you have the infrastructure providers. Continuous education of customers is key, and therefore, for us, we take financial literacy and client education seriously, because you can put in all the infrastructure. If the customers don't appreciate the dynamics, they will still fall victims to the fraudsters. So there are different areas we need to look at in dealing with cybersecurity. One, the institutions have to build the capacity, build high standards of the infrastructure related to cybersecurity in line with the corporate governance directives. The internal processes have to be organized in a way that prevents or is able to reduce or eliminate such threats, and the customers also have to be engaged and socialized and educated on practices within the cyberspace so that when they see an incoming threat, they're able to deal with it even from their perspective as well.
Now, let me still take you back to the cost of credit. How do we get our head around this? Because it's been difficult for especially the ordinary Ghanaian who want to go out there, you know what, how do we get our head around this?
I think that is a whole ecosystem of the market indicators. It doesn't rely on just one individual institution to say, I'll bring cost of credit below 20%. The whole ecosystem has to come together. So you see inflation, the forex, the cost of doing business, utilities, you know, all our branches. So we have 38 branches. If you don't have power, what you have to do is that you have to run 38 generators across this. And if the fuel is also high, there's a multiplier effect on that. So the whole ecosystem of the economics of running operations has to work in favor of all of us. It is in that situation that now institutions will begin to feel that their margins are not squeezed for sustainability reasons so that you don't pass on this cost to the customer. So it's the whole ecosystem of the market indicators, the operational efficiency of the institutions, and etc. The cost of money, like we said earlier on. The cost of money is high, the cost of delivering the credit to the customer. When I say cost of money, how you assess your funding. If you're assessing loans from local sources or even from international lenders, and the conditions are not favorable, the rates are not favorable, then definitely, as you pass it on as loans, it's going to be at a higher rate. Some institutions actually even source foreign denominated currency loans. And if you are using CD to pay back these loans, it becomes very expensive. So it's a whole lot of things. Even the area of risk management is important for the cost of credit. Last year, we climaxed our 20th anniversary celebration. Having been in operation for the past 20 years, we've built a very significant operation, over 670,000 depositors across 10 of the 16 regions of the country. There are plans to add a few more regions, starting from this year, where we plan to be in Volta region for the first time with a physical branch. We're looking at upcountry, Upper East, Upper West, Northeast as well, where we've done feasibility studies to also expand our footprint into those areas. What we're looking forward to do in 2025 is to combine our traditional model with technology as much as possible.
In speaking about the savings and loans sector, its growth prospect, challenges as well, and how best we can deal with some of these challenges affecting the sector. My name is James Ishen, Joy Business.
Welcome aboard the AM show. Thank you for your patience. Now let's get a conversation with Vida Ajua-Crenshaw, and she's a marketer for Easy Waterproof Paint, and she's in the studio with me this morning. Vida, good morning and welcome aboard.
Good morning, sweetie. Thank you.
Right, so Vida, tell me what you do and tell me a little bit about Easy Waterproof Paint. So
Easy Waterproof Paint, our tagline is no more leakages. And just as it sounds, this is a basket. We all know that ideally a basket has holes in them. But Easy Waterproof Paint, because we are saying no more leakages, we are sealing every hole in this basket.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So our focus is not the baskets, but just that I can't bring a building in here and paint the building here. So this is just to demonstrate. So imagine your leakage, your roof is leaking, and you cover it up with the waterproof paint. That is it.
Wow.
There will be no more leakages.
Okay.
And I'm talking about roofing with sheets, with concrete. any other type of material you're using for your roofing, you can just paint it. We have it in 4 colors. So with a basket, you can see that you have this whiter lane here. That's the waterproof paints.
Yeah.
We don't have it just in white. We have red color, we have gray, and we also have blue. So you can actually customize with your ceiling. If your ceiling is red, you are not left out.
Okay.
You can still have it in there. So this is the paint, which is the waterproof paint. Sealing every hole, ensuring that a basket which cannot hold water will be watertight.
I know you brought water and you get to it in
Exactly.
a bit, but so is this, excuse me, is this paint that you can use to paint your walls, like your proper, paint the whole house, or is purposely to seal holes and, you know, leakages and all that?
So you can paint your whole house, but that is not to be the finishing. It could be your primer. Because you are sealing the wall from rains, from moisture. You know, a lot of times buildings are on waterlogged areas. So if
so you can see that it's like the wall is popping out.
Exactly.
So this fixes that.
Exactly. This fixes that. So you can use it for your edges and for the wall, your outer wall. So exterior, interior, you can use it as well.
Now I'm curious. Let's demonstrate what you're talking
So
about.
let me just
So this, you have a basket and you've painted inside and outside with easy.
Yes, it's just the inside. It's just the inside. It's just that it was coming out from the hose.
Right.
So just doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Sealing the hole. So whilst it's coming out, it's sealing every hole.
Okay.
So let me pour.
So you're not going to pour it on our table?
I will not mess you. I will not mess your studio up. So I just want to pour it this way so they will know I'm pouring it. So this is it.
Okay.
And it could stay here till I leave here.
And
there will be nothing pouring from here.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Easy waterproof paint. And tell us about this amazing discount you have that will end next week. So you have to rush if you're interested. Tell us about it.
Exactly. So we started running this promo from December and we are ending next week. So the thing is, soon we are going into the rainy season. And it's best to safeguard your building at this point when the sun is always shining. If it's raining and we have to come and do the painting for you, it won't work.
Right.
So this is the best time to purchase the easy waterproof paint. And the focus is not just on the wall and the roofs or your reservoirs, also with the floor. Because a lot of times when you are building, before you even tile, we have a waterproof, damp-proof paint for your floors. So the damp-proof is different from the waterproof, but it's also doing the same thing as it is doing. So before you tile your floor, you can use the damp-proof on the wall before you tile your floor.
How much would that bucket go for? How much is it?
So with a discount, this big one is going for like a 900 cedis.
Okay.
And we have this size as well, which is going for 300 cedis.
Okay.
With the discount. So you have just next week to take advantage of the discount.
So after next week, it goes back to the original price.
The original
This
price.
is slashed by 25%.
Yes.
For 900 cedis, the big bucket, and 300 cedis for the small buckets. And this is easy waterproof paint. Vida, thank you so much. But before we go, how do we contact you? Where are you located? Yeah.
So we are located at Abeka Junction, and you can call us on 0243 707696.
Please take it again.
0243 707696, and we'll just direct you. But when you get to Abeka Junction, you will see our building just there.
Thank you so much for coming.
You so
Vida
much.
Crenshaw is the marketer for Easy Waterproof Paint. They're running a 25% promo discount, really. And it ends next week, so rush now, get it to seal the leakages in your roofs, in the floor, on the walls, because she says the raining season is coming in shortly. Thank you.
No more leakages.
No more leakages,
yes,
right.
Exactly.
Stay with us. We will bring you that exclusive interview we mentioned earlier this morning in a bit.
Thank you for joining us again on the AM show. This time we get into the big stories, and it's an exclusive interview, AM exclusive, with an industrialist, a former president of the Association of Ghana Industries, in respect of President John Mahama swearing in his first batch of ministers, 6 of them. Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Ato-Forson, Energy Minister John Abdullahi Jinapor, Attorney General Minister of Justice Dr. Ayine, among others. He's charging them to serve with humility and candor. But what are the expectations of the business community, the business players, in a new business environment, especially as we talk about a 24-hour economy and more? Joining us in the studio, we have Dr. Prince Kofi Kludjeson. He is former president of the Association of Ghana Industries. He joins the conversation. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Same to you. The last time we had a conversation, I think, was at the other side, not in this new studio.
Yeah, very beautiful. This is pretty.
We're grateful. Now, let's hit the ground running. What do you make of the nominees, first of all, before we get into those who have been appointed and what it means for business? The signaling so far from President Mahama and what you see.
I'm very, very, very impressed, and most people are. So are a lot of the, the country is very calm, because of the credibility of the president and also the credibility of those who are being named, and their humility, which is the key, in trying to transform Ghana and resetting Ghana to a 24-hour economy. So what I see now, if they keep to that tracking, I think that things will transform and develop. One of the major problems or issues in Ghana, people think that it's only the government who make things happen. But if you can have this kind of humility and calm, then many people, the corporate and other one, can support, the governance of this country to its success. So basically, so far, I think it's extremely very good. And then let's continue the hope that they stay on track to reset, and then we can get the needed support that we have, both from the local community and also the international community.
So far, the signaling is good. But then let's get into the details of the appointees, especially with a focus on critical areas of our economy, energy and finance. And we have John Abdullahi Jinapor, and then we also have Dr. Kasiel Ato-Forson. When you take these two, for starters, and their profiles, what they represent. Dr. Kasiel Ato-Forson has been a Deputy Minister of Finance before. John Abdullahi Jinapor has spoken to the issues in the energy sector for donkey years. What do you make of their mettle in respect of not just handling the ministries, but the problems we have vis-a-vis business?
You see, in the world that we live in, it is individuals that change and transform issues. If you look at these two, I watch them on their vetting, their humility and then their ideas, and focus on what they can do, and also looking for help when needed. I think it's really bringing a very, very major good signs. If you look at Jinapor started this as a very young man all the way here, very experienced, very endowed in that sector, and believe that it can be done, very honest, for my estimation, so far. And I believe that the issues in Ghana are not that major if the people who are leading it are truthful to themselves, the country and the people. Then other help can come, because the issues that are there is only how do we get stable oil and energy for the light to be on 24 hours of the economy for the Ghana to operate. That's basically his job. And so there are a lot of experts and technical people who are there to support him based on his leadership. Now, but if the leadership is not credible and not trustworthy, then people start lagging behind and all of that things start happening. So I believe that so far, Jinapor, it's quite a great, nice. It's not more a young one, it's a man, growing with maturity. And I think that he will deliver, and then also be the president of his second term. We cannot afford to fail. So everybody must go with period, and also make sure that we excel beyond reasonable doubt as what we are. If you look at, the finance minister all along, also very experienced. I think when he was at the interview, you continue referring to Setekwe, the former one that I learned under him. So all the mistakes, all the issues.
So he's now going to be an advisor.
Advisor.
On the economy.
Okay, also on the economy. So I think the team is quite good. The team, I think, is quite good. I know them personally, being the AGI president before, and I work with them. If they can just stay to the policies, or to reset without going around misleading the public for you, the media to be, repetitive, reminding that this is not what you said, this is what must be done, and they just focus on the business. We, the business community, we call it a business plan. If they can focus on the policy of government that let us achieve and excel, by even 10%, it will be great for this country. You see, if you look at what happened for the inauguration, it tells you the expectation of Ghana. Within 30 days, many people from all over 22 heads of states, many people came here. Right. They got visa, they got appointment, they got tickets, they got bookings, and they arrived in Ghana. What are they? It
was significant.
Very significant. So that's confidence. That's confidence in new administration. So therefore, all those who are appointed, and luckily the president also said, I'm going to appoint the 60 minister lean government to make sure that they focus. And what is really surprising me that, again, like I said on another session a few minutes ago, they are young. You see, this country, don't let underestimate the power of the young people. Doesn't matter how they are. Because that is where the center of gravity is. People can have all the ideas. If you look at all over the world, people who are leading the country, they're young, they're honest, and they succeed. So when you do that, credibility for, and others, come to support you. Because like I said, most of these things, like your studio, it was done by a young man many years ago. Now many people are employed, and credibility is continuing going. So they are very young, resolute, very educated, very experienced background. So all they need is that to focus on the presidential agenda, the policy of government, and also improve it to be more positive, so that jobs also can be created for the teeming youth, who are really, lacking, for no job, so that we can get credibility.
Permit me to do this. Even as we contextualize the conversation further, we must look at where we are and what challenges these individuals are going to face. We are looking at cocoa production having slumped to some record levels. We're looking at an exchange rate that is still inhibitive. We're looking, and that also impacts when you go to the bank for a loan, the rates at which you would get them. We are looking at inflation still being high. The finance minister, when he spoke in Parliament, spoke about what he would do and how he was hoping to bring inflation down. You are looking at the cost of living being high. You are looking at the cost of doing business being high. These are some of the problems. What other problems do you see? There's also the energy sector issue and trying to deal with them. And how do you think, from the business angle, these two ministers, let's focus on them for now, and maybe you can add trade as well, the lady, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjei. How do you think together they can work to tackle these issues?
You see, all these problems, that we talked about, they are academic, inflation, this, that. Ghana's debt is not too much, if you look at other countries, and what they do, what they are doing to be able to resolve that. I think the major problem in Ghana is equity. You see, we have a lot of minerals, we have a lot of resources, we have so many things, but we don't own them. We own very, very little.
We own them, but we don't own them because in terms of the extractive
ownership of the thing.
Exactly.
So I think that if it's not the presidential agenda, I think he should make sure that it becomes his agenda. Because if you look at what is happening in Burkina Faso, it's nothing. It's just that the Germans saw it and then increased the Burkina Faso ownership of their resources.
Right.
And the revenue came up.
Right.
And other things that happened.
They were getting a pittance for it, and now they're getting so much more.
Too much. So is Niger, so is all the Sahel thing they're talking about. I'm sure some people are advising them, So if the president can bring this as a focus, and then I know the president will be a good negotiator as well, and meet all these Brentwood institutions and say, look, you guys, this kind of maintenance asking me to do this, now we can do it, but and give me space to restructure my country and reset my agenda. I think we'll be able to get, some kind of support from there. But I think that, for the next, if it's not the president's agenda, we should go for, how can GNPC not own much of our oil reserves in terms of numbers?
Right.
You see, if you look at South Africa and others, many years ago, they had to go to Singapore, Malaysia to learn about the equity and they increase and form the black empowerment, which gives them 30% equity. Things started beginning from there. Ownership begins from there. If you look at most of the country, even if you look at Donald Trump, swearing in. That's even America. He talk about high equity, low taxes, but high equity for the United States to be a big country. So I think it should be part and parcel of the big agenda for the president, so that we can move on in equity. Because you see, there are a lot of minerals that are now being developed. So even if not the old one, if you look at the lithium with the recent crescendo all over the world, Should we now say that, okay, that one, the new one that are coming, the country should go for 50% or whatever?
But even there, if you look at the erstwhile administration and some of what we've been
zero
talking
almost,
about, the former Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Abu Jinapo, you'd realize that we're not, I think we're talking about 10%, which in itself, to be fair to them, was higher. Higher
against
as against
current
3%, 5%, maybe 6-7% we had been getting. But still, what some of you would say was a pittance.
Too much.
It's
just
far
too low.
cry from what we could
too
do.
low. Yeah, I think Ghana should focus on equity. Yeah, there will be complaints, but I believe that the president is a good negotiator. Okay, meet the people, meet the miners, whatever. Yeah, people argue that Ghana sold. Yeah, we sold before, but not now. I remember when I was very young. Gowon, stood in Nigeria and told all the miners that today I want to thank you for coming to develop in Nigeria in the honors, but I'm happy to tell you that Nigeria will take 50% equity in all that you have done. Equity is the biggest problem of Ghana's problem because even the business side, we don't own anything. People will say they have money, but the Ghana Companies Code says that our shares have no power value. That's what the law says. So all the problem that we have while we argue, we go to government for the polity, the foreigner is going for his side and getting papers who say that I own the company. So I think that is what matters. Jinapo and all that, they are very, very good. Like the Minister of Finance has also said, something that he said, it should just move for equity and allow. See, Ghana has an Exim Bank, just in China about 3 months ago. Exim banks are very, very powerful, banks, which are more powerful than the traditional banks that make sure that businesses succeed in terms of credit. The power of credit, for different terms, which is really important, and also for export. Now, Burkina Faso, they're just doing tomatoes exports, big factories, and it's changing the dynamics. So I think,
and we even buy some from them.
Yes, we are buying from them, So I believe that, one of the major things from the business and my experience in all these matters, when I say President, we'll push this equity thing. We got, close to local content laws or whatever it is. But I think the 24-hour economy is great. I think that the president, the president...
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get to the 24-hour.
So I think let's move on equity, basically that's what it is. The other one, I mean, the IMF and all of that's not that much, 3 billion, whatever they're talking about. They are not much debt. It's how we negotiated it before. And things that went in, why they became very, very hard on us. But I believe that they are very, very good, ministers, who can be able to negotiate. Usatekwe also going after the economy, he had experience, before, and doing all this in Batan 11, ESLA, budgets, and so and so. I think, and then we, the private sector, should also support government. One of the major issues I want to encourage this around is the Ghana Bar Association. You see, Ghana Bar Association should be more proactive. Look, let me
in which sense?
The whole country is law. All the agreement that comes there is law.
Right.
Whatever they sign is law. People don't, but the Ghana Bar Association and their members who do these things, they must be able to look at Ghana first.
Oh, I see.
So that is a major problem with Ghana. You sign the agreement, but you don't know what the content is. We fly sign agreement, we don't know what the content is. So,
but let's put that into perspective. The Ghana Bar Association, yes, unless you are referencing the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, who has to ensure that all of these things, which is why when there are such issues that crop up, they are taken to the Attorney General to take a look at what on the face of it we stand to gain or lose, and then give a verdict to government, which is acted upon. What role exactly are you proffering for the Ghana Bar Association? Because they may not technically work hand in glove with
well, see, what you don't know,
government.
We talk about Attorney General. When I think about Attorney General, he meant it to somebody.
Okay.
You see, majority of these agreements are done by private lawyers behind the scenes.
Okay. I just wanted you to clarify.
That's what I'm trying to clarify. Most of them, we just talk Attorney General. Attorney General is head of our policy.
Right.
But the practicality is not done by him. They finish it and bring it to his table, and he takes the president. You see, so if we, the operators, the private sector, which is the Ghana Bar Association, I'm talking about the lawyers. The Attorney General also belongs to the Ghana Bar Association. So the lawyer this time around, they must be more proactive and try to negotiate things in law that helps the country more than just their fees, So I think that if the Attorney General can get the Bar Association to understand the new policy of government so that the agreement that we sign, you see, all that we face is all the agreement that we sign. It's the agreement that goes to court, arbitration, and what have you, for one negotiation, whatever it is. We have said it will be done. But I believe that if you get a positive agreement, which also goes to equity policy, I think that we'll be getting somewhere.
Right. Let's move the conversation forward a bit. And yes, Elizabeth Ofosu Ejari, a correction there, not a J. Elizabeth Ofosu Ejari. She's Minister Designate for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. I've heard talk about an operation to feed the industries, right? Something reminiscent of what Ignatius Kutu Echampong did. Operation Feed Yourself, Operation Feed the Industries. There's also talk about government providing incentives for agribusinesses to produce raw materials. And I'm sure you can tell why I'm focusing on raw materials, because industry thrives on that. What do you think of such policies? And beyond the rhetoric, beyond the talk, how do we actualize them?
You see, the lady is also very nice, very, very experienced person. She's been the minister before, and the issue that they are bringing about is what must be done. We are inviting the private sector to support us to create these opportunities. If you talk about Ignatius Echampong, I came from the US many years ago because of that policy, Operation Feed Yourself, which became, it was just a rhetoric from beginning, but it was actualized by the support of the private sector. You see, so therefore, Minister of Trade was a very, very powerful ministry also many years ago. Very, very powerful. When you come, you go there first, and then you go through all the training, all the issue, and then you go to the sector. So if the people who are managing there go to why is Minister of Trade there for? Minister of Trade is supposed to support trade for Ghana, increase trade, bring revenue, make a lot of the Ghanaians who want to do business to go into trade. You see, look, when you look at GUTA,
the Ghana Union of Trade.
When we started them, I started them many years ago when they came back. Today, they're almost 8 million, from ground zero. Yeah. Now, if you can be able to, assist and support them, and also get their rhetorics out and focus on their business, of trade, which is what they are supposed to do. Basically, export and also bring, revenue to the country, not only import and moving, to be able to establish industry, which was their focus at that time. I believe that because they have equity, and need to invest into industrial. You see, there are a lot of hidden, avenues, for where Ghana is not looking at, what makes the other countries very great. You see, there are a lot of associations, they own almost all the shops in Ghana. When they say close, they close, the economy goes down. But nobody creates value on who they are, you understand? So the value proposition like the lady, the minister is talking about is key. I would do this, but who would implement it? Who will be the focus, constituents? You should be friendly to the business community. I was at a church on Sunday, and then I hear the chief of staff saying that now they're going to go back to Ministry of Trade and focus there. So all the young people who have an idea should now go to Ministry of Trade, put their proposal there, and then government will look at it and see how we can support the needed private sector to grow again. That was his statement. So if that's what they're going to do, then I can say that I applaud it, that it's a very major, decision to do. And the key for Ministry of Trade, all that they need to do, that we have very strong trade and industry associations in Ghana. It should make sure that they listen to them, collaborate with them, and work with them so that we can achieve the desired goals of the ministry.
When you look at, since you've broached the subject of importation, you remember that Kobnata Hugh Hammond, KT Hammond as we call him, had wanted a bill on reducing certain imports and all of that, but some technicalities could not be agreed upon. How do we reduce our import bill? Because in shoring up our economy, we would also want local businesses to produce what we eat, what we drink, what we use, so that local businesses will grow and will also be able to save the hard currency we would have used to import. How do we go about it?
All these issues about people, you identify this, you identify this. Let us take a holistic approach of Ghana, and then not segment what it is. Why are they importing those items? Can we do them in Ghana here? If the answer is yes, why are we not doing them? You understand? You see, all these things are not difficult to do. What is difficult to do is the blockades that are there. Like I said, most of the young countries who are now, they are doing it, the new ones, they've learned. You see, if you go to Benin today, you're surprised what is happening in Benin today, So I think that...
Tell us about some of what you see.
If you go to Benin today, Benin has changed and it's changing. Why? There are many young people who were brought from the U.S., the private sector, who don't have position, but they are supporting government to achieve the goals of government.
Right.
Right. So it's all about strategy. You see, Ghana, when you travel around, I'm telling you, I'm in the technology industry. There are many Ghanaians, very powerful, all over the place. Why are we here when 73% of our thing is analog? It's a very serious matter. When you go to the World Bank, you go to the IMF, you go to the Investment Bank, there are many solid Ghanaians. Let us find a way and bring, they don't have to have positions, they don't have to be ministers, they don't have to, even if the president is going to the US, like other countries that I know do, India and others do, you don't need to take people from here. You can take the citizens from there, give them card, office of the president for that period, let them support you to achieve your negotiations. It's all about negotiations.
So we need to tap into the human resource.
We need to tap with the human resource.
Right.
There's a lot of money around. Even the Ghanaians abroad, if you look at the foreign currency coming in or the forex, about the Ghanaians abroad, it's a lot. It can save a lot of. Some of them are at the very strategic places. They don't even want to be known that they are here. So I think that let us also tap into Ghanaians abroad, our citizens, our children abroad, to support this reset agenda. So that we can provide services. You see, it's not easy for the next 2-4 years to do all these things for it to happen. What are the priority areas? What will save Ghana? What will be able to get it out of the doldrums? It's all about negotiation. Many years ago, Rawlinson, we have to go to Washington and bring Ghanaians from the World Bank to support him to do the economic recovery program even at that time. So these are the issues which I think that we need to focus on. So Jenna Paul and all of them, so they also have colleagues, they are friends, they have really gone, classmates, who are everywhere. Tap into them and see what help they can give for us to structure the new economy, the new agenda, people are calling new independence, so that we can get out of this very fast.
Okay. We need to find a rapid way of growing our economy and industrializing, so to speak. Of course, the economists will tell you that sometimes if you industrialize too quickly too, there could be different effects, and also there could be the resource curse. But in respect of industry and raw materials, she had this to say. She expressed worry over how these agro-producing factories had been operating for years but had been unable to provide sufficient raw materials. And she spoke in respect of 1D, 1F. Then I'd like to link that to the 24-hour economy, because touching on that, she linked them and she said, quoting her, so 1D, 1F companies that will sign on to the 24-hour economy policy will get the benefit of tax holidays and also the benefit of stimulus packages for their rapid growth. I've heard talk about if you are operating from the evening to a certain point, you are going to pay less for electricity and all of that. Let's hive off electricity for now. Is this workable?
You see, the whole world, the president just made the 24-hour economy and it become like a brand. The whole world work on 3 shifts economy. 3 shifts economy.
The whole world?
The whole world. Most of the world that succeeds, Japan, America, where we grew up, China, it's 3 shifts.
Because I know there are certain cities, more or less, Tokyo, New York.
Everywhere, most of the time.
Sydney, see, there are places
and
that
if you even have students, those of us who are students in America, whatever it is, you go to school and you have 2 other jobs to do to survive, to pay school fees. So the 24-hour economy should focus on the policies that will allow, many years ago, your industrial area, Tema, there were 24-hour industrial economies, Valco, Kaiser Aluminium, and all of them, Kaneshi and all of them. They were big industries those days. What happened? Why did they close down? You see, it is not only the foreign company that we need to mention. Nestle, so and so. Ghana have a lot of capacity for it to establish big industries in Ghana here, if we have equity laws backing them. You see, if $1 million is passed, Ghana, the Ghanaian sovereign equity is 30%. It's easy, we can do that. You see, so that, the company does not have to come have 100%. The most problem about industry setup is equity. Because if the thing is $10 million, and then you are supposed to bring about having 10 or 20, even 10% or 20%, it's difficult. But if there are policies, like the chief of staff say, that they can now assist, it's also going to go back to who the new governor of Bank of Ghana should be. With someone that has to have his mindset and heart on Ghana.
You say, just to hold you briefly, whom the new governor is going to be. Do we necessarily need to change the governor?
Well, if you I think so, because the policy of governor is key, Federal Reserve Bank. It's really key.
I know of it. I just want to know what you think.
What
Some have also postulated that this bit about, okay, the governor will go, well, he's going to hit his, official, I don't know whether it's retirement at some point.
Whatever it is, you see, I'm a businessman. We need a financial good policy from the government of Ghana, which goes to governor. You see, if you look at the law, the Minister of Finance is for policy, governor is for monetary policy. I'm sorry, I'm vying. But you also need that. You see, when you go around negotiating all over the world, there are things that they see. They press the computer button and see what is the policy rate. Policy rate is too high in Ghana here. Why should banks be borrowing at 37, give you loan at 37%, and where there's somewhere, 10, 5, 15%? The policy rate is too high for the banks. You don't blame the banks, blame the Bank of Ghana. You see, so the policy rate...
Because it's the central bank that also determines what that policy rate will be, which also determines the rate at
everything else, everything.
The banks will lend to ordinary citizens or even businesses.
Everything. You see, people are talking, every day they print money. Many countries don't print money. It's all about cards. It's all about chips, on a card, credit cards or ATM cards or whatever, novelty cards. That runs the economy. Many countries, they don't even accept cash, because, so if the country has to go for, where we are today, the 24-hour economy, I urge the president should also make sure they add the digital economy. You see, the president, very knowledgeable also in that sector, because he's the one who signed the digital agreement, or what we call the integration agreement, at his time before he left Ministry of Communication. So those agreements must be implemented. You see, there's too much cash society in this country. Every day they are printing cards, They don't need to print cards. But if the policy rate comes down, the banks can lend lower, the industrialization will pick up.
But how do we get the policy rate to come down? That's where the devil is, isn't it?
It's all about the person who will be the next governor. It's all about people. You see, the issue of the negatives in Ghana are no negatives. You see, I just came here to a new studio. What happened with this hard economy? You, the staff, you make sure it happened. It's not the founder of the company that built the new studio. It's the staff. So policy issues are very good. And it's inured to we, the individual and the citizens of the country. And also who do they have credibility, who have the credit to do this. And there are many countries, there are many case studies I can give you, but you don't have time. But if you look at other countries like India, whatever, they are doing it. But even the current African countries, they are doing it. When you travel the whole of Africa, now you start seeing a lot of improvement in many of the countries like Senegal and all this. Signs are showing, like what the president is about to do. So I think that there might be that kind of support. I don't want to get into rhetoric, but let us focus on what is important. The minutest things, step by step. We achieve this, we achieve this, we achieve this. Once you achieve it, like the Minister of Finance has said, I think once you can do that and the consultation are done, and the president must be briefed with the right information.
Okay. Let me ask you this, feeding into the conversation of industry. When we listened to the energy minister, but when he was still a nominee and came before the appointments committee for vetting, he spoke about how precarious our energy situation was. There's also been talk about privatizing some aspects of the work of ECG. Where do you stand on that? We look at the cash waterfall mechanism, which, according to industry players, hasn't fulfilled fully what its purpose was. We look at the IPPs and the sector debt. You're looking at $3 billion, the equivalent now of about 45 billion plus CDs. And then you look at the fact that the clock is ticking. We must get this right, else industry will suffer. And we also have a 24-hour economy on our hands. What has to give for us to get this right?
Well, personally, and in consultation of many, I don't personally think that privatization again on initial stage of ECG should be the way to go. And I tell you what, business of ECG is run by individuals. Now, if you look at all the problems of about the IPPs or whatever you call them, they are also established, but they are Ghanaian human beings who are running them. Let's rather look quickly at the issues of ECG. What are the problems of ECG? And you see, like I'll talk about equity from the very beginning. Let's make ECG very strong as a backbone, for Ghana's energy policy. But if you go to the private sector and the Ghanaians cannot be the owners of that privatization, it worries me. unless we, the Ghanaian, with the same economy, are going to be the one who have knowledge and have the funding to hold that equity for the new privatized equity, then of course that's another matter. But if the Ghanaians, we are not going to be those who hold that equity, for the new privatized economy, then it's very worrying, So, it seems that probably we should go slow on that. I don't know what goes into that quick privatization for the next 6 months. But I believe that let's rather look at what the problems are. They should tell us what the problems.
Let me tell you what the problems, are. You look at ECG, they are purchasing in dollars, they are selling in cedis, which means that ab initio, they are going to incur losses. There are also losses from people who tap into electricity they are not paying for. In other words, power theft, right? You put that together and it's a deadly cocktail. It means ECG will never be able to break even. And if you look at the trajectory of the losses of ECG, I think it's only once in about a 10-plus year bracket that they made anything close to a profit. I think over 400 million Ghana cedis. Ever since then, it's always been debt upon debt upon debt, and the debt is even bigger now. Private enterprises will ensure that you are getting value for money because they are looking at equity, they are looking at their shares, they are looking at the shareholders and ensuring that they are making some level of profit so that it can be spread across. Some say we need the sanity of private enterprise to regulate something, an entity like this.
Well, I don't know about, you see, why do we have to buy in dollars? We're in Ghana, it's our country. Who is selling to us in dollars?
Well, the power that is generated is not going to be sold to you in cedis.
Who is generating the power? Who is generating the power? The power is being generated by those we give licenses to operate in our country, and they're also selling back to us in dollars. We are selling to cities. Why can't they sell it to us in cities?
There are many national operational system, I mean, we know.
Well, whatever it is, you see,
operate with certain currencies, and that's exactly what they are doing.
If you look at the BRIC story that are going around all over all over Africa, you see the BRIC story. You see, people must find a way out. See, don't become a slave in your own country to other issues that will let you suffer. You understand? There are many, India and all that, they are finding ways. Everybody is finding ways to get out of the reasons why we are having problems. You see, but if you're going to talk about the dollar thing, that's the reason why we buy in dollars, we buy in cities. No, I don't think we buy in dollars and cities. It's also our collection system, or the payment system of the recovery system of our revenue. Do you find other ways and means to do that? I'm not saying they shouldn't privatize, but I believe that if you privatize, there must be Ghana local equity in it. Maybe there must be a consortium formed with the ECG owning so much equity in that consortium, but not total privatization.
Right.
But to say that we are privatizing to another company who might be probably a foreign company again, nobody knows where it comes from.
So you are against like a PDS arrangement?
Yes, of course. You see, I'm a very big believer of equity because I've been in this game for so long, and many of us as Ghanaian, just give it the laws, let's operate, let's bring you the solution.
But with ECG, it's never been a wholesale, we are letting everything go.
Yes, sir. You see,
because power is crucial. Power, water, energy, water, you can't let all of it go. But where we are now, some say we need some level of that.
You see, I've been involved in all these issues, why are we where we are? Why do we decide to go privatize to IPPs or whatever? What are the policies then? Who are owners of those things? Why we have this problem? We've been there before. You see, ECG was a very powerful, VRA, ECG. These two, they were very, very powerful entities many years ago. Because Hayford time, Akaleti time, whatever. They're very powerful. Why did we get here? I think we also need to take some stocks. Why did we get here? Why can we continue privatize? To who? You see, to who for me is the key. Many people may have other ideas. You see, but I know the IPP, I know the owners, I know what happened, I know how they got there, I know who are really behind the IPPs. You see, it's all about, this is our country. We want to do it, they want to do it. People will come. People will make sure that we do it. But if the privatization, there might be full disclosures as to what, look, I came out one day from the US and then my brought me a new meter, that they brought a new meter in the house. And I look at the code. When I Google the code, the ownership of that who doing it came to another country. I will not disclose. The meter in your house. So if you go to intellectual property and then you Google, It takes you to the ownership of who is operating that behind the scene at the ECG. See, there are too many people from behind ECG. They must just go off, and let the Ghanaians get in there. If not here, let's get the Ghanaian abroad to get in there, or friendly people who can operate the thing for it to get on energy. Technology. Look, in India, majority of the energy provided to the state is from the telecom operators. You see, in my village and many villages, where there's a tower, there's a 100 kVA generator there. So that 500 kVA in that village is not being used. There are batteries there. You see, all over the country. So when you look at other jurisdictions, what it is that supports the ECG to provide power. Certain, industries also provide, and they become licensed operators as well. Case state of India, they know very well. So we should look at other options all over. And you see, Ghana needs job. Ghana needs establishment. We need to own our company. We need to own our country. There are many, many areas. People must be friendly to industry. You see, Asia is talking, Chamber is talking, Guta is talking. Let us listen and see what we can do to create local capacity. Because if you are not operating local, we continue doing to solve short solutions. If we need to bring a major company in the world to come and partner with government, on a joint venture basis, let's do so. And after 5 years, after so many years, they go. So we own the company and we restructure. But as long as we're not doing that, we continue having short term because there's no getting power in Ghana for the life of Ghana for the next 10 years can be done based on negotiation. It doesn't have to be equity, it doesn't have to be whatever. Another thing I want to China, there's even butter. We'll give you this, but you want, a lot of food from Ghana. Even anchovies. In China, I was surprised that anchovy, they want as many cassava, they can buy as many, so and so. So they can also look at the butter trade, you see, which will also give us revenue, and a lot of revenue, which will allow the 1D or whatever they call it to step up.
Okay. You've said a lot about power. I just want us to focus on a little bit of what the business community can also do before I come to your expectations, right? This government has spoken about taking out some nuisance taxes, so to speak. Betting tax, some people disagree on that. The e-levy, among others, okay? But the finance minister has also spoken about widening the tax net, and it's easier said than done. But I want to just paint a short picture from the Argentine example. I don't know whether you've heard about Javier Milei. It's been a little over a year since he introduced radical change in Argentina. The central bank was $12 billion in debt. The poverty rate, 50%. Inflation, 7,500%. He came in a little over a year, radical moves, slashed government ministries from 18 to 9, and now it is 8. Systematically removed 50,000 government employees. And I think some people may not like what I'm saying when I mention this. In fact, it was so radical, the people called him El Loco, the madman. But there was a method to his madness. The true tax burden isn't what citizens pay in taxes. It's the total size of the state apparatus itself. So, the president is reducing ministries and reducing ministers, right? But the tax component, scrapping taxes, how do we shore up? How can the business community support? And I say this because some of the business community also don't pay taxes. Your take?
See, there is something we call power to the people, like the Argentina guy. You see, there are a lot of things that need to be done. Do you know Senate contribution? Total about 2 or 3 million people who contribute to Senate. That's it, out of 30 million people.
Yeah.
You see, when you go
the workforce is smaller than 30 million.
When you go to Rwanda now, the total transformation of Rwanda is about the equivalent of Senate in Rwanda. The last 32 years of Rwanda, Vision City, all kinds of things. See, people will always pay tax when the right policies are done for the tax we collected for the people. There's so many things, like you're talking about the Argentina experience, not only Argentina experience, there's so many experiences in Africa today where people are doing things different. Could you believe that even the bullying of these French young ones say, look, French troops leave my country. There are policies. You see, so let us just come with policy and see what we can do. He said, look, this whole thing, when you travel all over the world, it's all about people. You know, when you elect a president, when you elect the people, those that, I mean, if you look at the president, it may be a joke. He's bringing Elon Musk for whatever they call it, governance of something. You see, where the talents are, let's look for the talent. Ghana has abundance of talent. What I'm saying is that from the economic recovery program of this country, I've been involved with a lot of things, and I know that it's all about people. It's all about we, the Ghanaians. We have knowledge. Give us the power, try us, give it the support, and we'll deliver. You see, whatever you go, it's all negotiations. You know, wherever you go, it's all about negotiations.
Let me pin you down on the bit of taxes. Of course, how stringent should we be in terms of navigating the tax burden? Because without taxes, the state cannot give us government cannot give us what we need, but at the same time, the complaint has been that we pay our taxes and we don't see the effect of the taxes. Road tolls, for example, now the take is that we'll bring them back, which, to be fair, has been said in the past. But what is going to be the effect? How do we maximize taxes?
You see, Ghana is too unitary. The law that governs Ghana says that there must be 260 or so municipalities that should govern the country, headed by a mayor and then a county or region. You see, there cannot be that central governance for Ghana to serve Nalarigo, to serve Have, and all of them, and we think we'll succeed. Give power to the people.
Decentralized.
Decentralized, that's what the law says. You see, all of us, you know, we are from various communities. We are doing so many things, little. Decentralized. Look, the betting tax. Who owns the betting companies? Who owns the betting companies? When you leave the veil, you find out who owns the betting company. It's not NLA. You understand? Right. Again, you see, it is not NLA that owns the betting companies. Who brought the betting companies, the Betway and all of them? Is it for NLA? No, it is not. It's also going, the money is going somewhere. See, let us do a closer look, you know, and do a close talk and navigate and see where are all these things coming from. You see, and if you start eliminating gradually, you start seeing effect. It's cause and effect. You know, cause and effect. You see, I don't know anything about tax, but I know who's collecting those taxes. You see, and why those taxes? Why are the young people betting? Why do you think the young people are betting? That's why, because if there's a good technology, whatever it is, young people can be employed with a laptop, you know, and then they're making a lot of money as well. So why don't you do things so that the young people who are betting should also try? They just want to make some money. So the other issue is that what are the benefits of those, who own those betting companies? So see, removing all these taxes is very, very important for some money to be saved. You see, if you look at case example of what happened in the US, they said that certain executives were signed and they said, well, we have saved 3 trillion already. So that is what I think the John Mahama is trying to do. First of all, 68 leading ministers, a lot of costs are saved, you know, people are excited. Quality ministers are being appointed. Reputed ministers are being acquitted, like what happened at that apartment committee about Haruna Idris and all this. So let us continue on that tangent. If we do, I think things will start changing. There will be peace in the country. You, the media, you have to find out something to report on, not like before. So once the positive mental attitude replaces, other issues resolving gradually. You know, I mean, how much the Ghana, tax? The issue is all about debt and expenditure. How do we handle that? How do we manage that? There used to be a very powerful debt management unit at Ministry of Finance. They're very powerful. You know, if you leave Delex, the guy who's, that's how he grew up, through the debt management situation at Ministry of Finance. See, let's bring what worked before, and then bring them. If you look at all the energy thing, look, VRA, NOED, this and that, from one VRA, there were a lot of splinter all over the place. The question was why?
I still want to come back to the tax issue, the GRA, and the work that has been done. Over the last few years, there has been some positive trajectory in terms of raking in more, but the tax net is not growing that much. What if, as a business person, government asked you, how do we incentivize the citizenry so that apart from indirect taxes, the direct taxes we want to collect, we'll be able to find a mechanism so that every Kojo Ama out there is still willing to contribute to the state kitty? What would you say?
One of the things that the Minister of Local Government said at this vetting, he said that he thinks that one of the major problems about Ghana taxes is property taxes. You know, I mean, the Minister of Local Government, one of the things that he has identified is property taxes. You see, anywhere that you go in the world, you know, tax is something everybody is afraid of, you know, and the people who also manage the tax authorities, you know, like the US and others, the IRS is coming to you tomorrow, you run, you understand? You see, so I think that I don't want to impute all these economy, whatever it is. Let us look back at what used to be, you know, where do we get here, what do we need to do? You see, there's not any blame game. But I think that the president has said, I'll reset the country. Let's go back to that foundation. What are the issues? If it's taxes, let's look at how do we do it? Look, there are tons and tons of professors all over the place in Ghana here today. You know, there are consultants for other countries as well. You know, I mean, why are we here? You see, when people come here, you meet them. You know, have some, you know, big company in Ghana right now called WorldViewer, you know, trying to negotiate with us how to transform Ghana and Africa into a technology country. There are many, many ideas that are out there. There are a lot of money. People want to come to Ghana now. You see, the key asset for Ghana today, Ghana is the headquarters of African continental trade. You know, whether you understand, you don't understand it, everybody wants to be in Ghana, and then invest in the other African countries. One of the things that I learned when the US, they say, even one of the major said about Ghana is that how come we don't have an airline? Because when you arrive in Ghana, you know, going to the other African countries is very difficult. It's not only about taxes. What will bring in more money, more revenue, which will be taxed, you know, on a major tax bill. I think that should be the major issue which you're looking at, so that the fund remain in Ghana. You see, so those are some of the issues we need to be looking at. If you look at the Ghanaians abroad, why are they sending a lot of money to this country? You see, so the issue we need revenue, we need inflow of money. And then I just look at the recent tax revenue of Ghana. The lady was complaining about the one who's leaving, you know, that she has lifted Ghana tax and so and so. It's fine. What are the issues? You see, look, if you look at the business community, we always complain, you know, this, that, and that, and that, and that. Listen to us. Let's see how we can resolve that one. The Guta, those who are really doing the trade, where had the money been leakage. You know, look, I can tell you, the ports. Look, I have an expert who told me that if you have the tax at the ports, you get more revenue. The reason is that when people are trying to struggle money to pay their duty, the boat is not gone, you know, so you cannot come back earlier. So there are all kind of dynamics, you know.
To all of these ought to be addressed from the financial perspective.
That's all. Once you address them, the petty, the micro to micro, we'll get there.
Let me take some messages. Musa says, so far all nominees deserve commendation for their insightful and impactful contributions to the vetting committee. You say their remarks resonate strongly with the priorities of the president. The president focused on improving the living conditions of citizens and restoring the economy to its former glory. Okay, so it goes on and on. You say it's timely and necessary. Yabua Benjamin says, I have limited knowledge on how this energy sector operates, but I think ECG should evolve from the current state of a mere power distributor or distribution arm to become a fully or partially, so full or partial owner of power itself by way of investing it into establishing mini solar farms to add up to the energy bulk being distributed. We can't solely rely on these IPPs, which only God knows where they are coming from. It goes on and on. But of course, we segregated the power structure or the energy structure so that the gridcos and the VRAs play their own role. And then when it comes to power distribution, down south, you have ECG, and then up north, you have NETCO taking it from there. If we have to restructure, well, if we are resetting, we might as well look at some of those dynamics. But just to wrap on before I take your expectations, you see, as I brought in the Argentinian leader, because if you look at what has happened in a short space of time, wholesale inflation plummeted from 54% to 2% monthly. Core monetary inflation was down to 0.2% monthly. Poverty reduced from 57% to 46%. The GDP recovered quite a bit, and he did all of this with only 15% of representatives, 10% of senators. No hyperinflation trigger to reset expectations, no price controls, no fixed exchange rates. Which brings me then to the question. Of course, if some other country under these circumstances can do it, Ghana surely can.
Of course.
But what would be your expectations in respect of these different dynamics. You're talking about fuel prices. You're talking about inflation. You're talking about the very things that hobble industry and agriculture. If you're buying diesel, for example, to power your equipment on the farm, what is the price of diesel now?
You see, we're putting too much pressure on government. You know, who is government? Government is you and I. We are the individual brain that go in.
But we elect certain key individuals
so when we let them, all the euphoria goes in there. Okay, should government subsidize it by 50% and then transfer that to some debt level and see how we can do with that debt? Maybe. You see, it is Argentina. When you go to Argentina, let me tell you something. It's always the background of the people. The 15 people they are talking about, who are they? What are their backgrounds? Where do they come from? It's not magic. It's all about people. If you go to Wall Street and all of that, they are just young individuals who are there. You know, you see, let us put priority and expectation and trust in our young people who have knowledge. You see, because you see, all over the world, that's what it is. If you go to all, see, when people come here, you go to Argentina, those who are making it happen, they are young people with their laptop, you know, so and so, and get it done. But if you are not be able to appreciating the power and the knowledge of these people, it's economics. You know, who are the best economists, you know, in the world? What do we do? How do we do it? Okay, you know, one of the things the World Bank, you know, when they come, one of the things they say, for instance, is that if you talk about fuel consumption and whatever, well, we see more four-wheel drive on our road in Ghana than we see it in Washington. You know, they are 12 volts, you know, vehicles. They are high capacity consumers of power. So, and then they are in traffic, you know, in Ghana. You know, why so? You see, there are a lot of little things which are constitute all these issues. The usage of the, you know, and then if you go to homes and power usage, you know, so high, the connection, all of them are running at the same time. It's all, I'm sure Argentina has other policies, other principles that make sure that these inflations are down. You see, let's take stock of what is the reason. You know, government has seen something to have that report. So that let's just begin the resetting this. And if it's a power setup, let's reset it. You know, I'm sure even if you can get it down to 20-25%, we are getting somewhere. I want to talk about practicalities. You see, not just policy. Can we get the ECG down? CEO of ECG, I'm appointing you there. You know, I want you to bring that the power to 25%. That's your job. He goes and brings the report and make sure that he affects it. You see, so, you know, the governor of Bank of Ghana, the Minister of Finance, this is what we want to do. You see, if you continue talking a lot about rhetorics and this and that, you don't get the Guatemala, you know, Guyana, I can tell you, there are many of them.
So in essence, we, not just individuals, the business community, we must all be willing to tighten our belts to make these things happen.
Yes, there's nothing.
What picture would that paint? How will that happen?
Let the picture come, but let's reset our country.
So we should be willing to also suffer a little.
I went to Kumasi the other day. On the road, only 2 lanes. Many major trucks going through Burkina Faso, carrying a lot of goods, so and so. Let's look at what the priorities are. Who will bring in the revenue? Why should Ghana be restored, you know, and reset to a beautiful country? Yesterday I was at the vetting of the Minister of Tourism. What came up was that why tourism don't come to Ghana anymore, you know, to all the tourist areas. You know, it's, you know, some of the report that I read is ATM, washrooms, and Wi-Fi. You know, as basic as that. You see, so when tourists also come to this country, you know, wow, it's a beautiful country. Like Volta region, for instance, how do we transform Volta region to a tourist state? How do we take Kumasi, Ashanti region, to like a Silicon Valley, you know, in Ashanti? This is one of the projects I'm working on right now. Now, if you look at the projected revenue from these policies, it's a lot. You know, making sure that all the 6 million people in the Volta region, tourism go to Qatar and all of them, worry about disaster and all of them. The whole of Volta region is like Jamaica and all that, where the beaches, clean skies, you know, blue skies and water, and it is developed. You see, so let's look at the practical ways, you know, to do this and copy. You know, one of the things in business school, if you want to copy your original, don't copy from copy. You see, the kind of statistics that you used to put down, you know, and this and that, you go back then. If you probably look at those statistics and we start making them positive, we've achieved something.
Right.
You see, so that's what I don't want to. I've been in all government, I've been so many things, but for me, the only thing I took from John Mahama is reset. Right. Let's reset it. Let's redraw it. We know him very well. He's a very humble person. Let's support him. Let's help him so that he become successful, so that Ghana can benefit.
In some 30 seconds, your final words, and maybe you can sneak in there. Maybe let me give you 1 minute. Are there any priority areas that you feel within the first quarter, the first 3 months, this administration should be able to scale, get past? Final words.
If you ask me, to be selfish, in my sector, we should quickly again grow back, the country back quickly, to a cloud technology as been happening so that all of you can move. Secondly, you see, this country, if you look at what is going on right now, everybody is very happy. Let President Mahama and his team just give us good governance so that we can trust them. That's it. If you can get a good governance from the president and his team, we can trust them without worrying about distrust. I think we'll get somewhere.
Okay.
Let's begin from the foundation, which is doing already, and I think we'll get there. Then all of us, all Ghanaians now should come on board, the chiefs, whatever. Let's come to the media, everybody. Let's come to support the president to achieve a 24-hour digital economy so that we can move on from there. Thank you.
Dr. Kludjeson, it's been great having you join the conversation as always. It's always refreshing having you on. And this has been my interaction with Dr. Prince Kofi Kludjeson. He is former President, Association of Ghana Industries. Before we take a breather and return with more, let me tell you, select a solar system from our various solar packages ranging from 30,000 cedis, yeah, that cheap, to 99,000 cedis, depending on your needs. All our solar systems come with lithium-ion batteries, and you know the quality of that. Get a solar water heater, a solar home system, a solar power station, or a solar generator ranging from 1,000 watts to 20,000 watts. Guess what? We also sell reverse osmosis machines for water treatment. Google SolarMate Ghana to find us on both Facebook and Instagram. And you can contact SolarMate Ghana on 0508 320 470. SolarMate Ghana is located at Adregano, East Lagos. SolarMate, we go everywhere. And of course, we'll be taking you somewhere else on our next stop. But you want to stick and stay with us? We'll be right back.
We're back on air. It's still the AM show, and this is Benjamin's favorite parts of the show, where we get to interact with the regular Kujos and Ames in the studio. You were saying that we've done very well this week, engaging our audience. Someone sent me a photo, a screenshot. He had tried calling for like 6 or 7 minutes straight and call cancel.
Because other people were trying to, other people were beating him or her to it.
Yes. Wow. But this is a segment, have your say, the numbers are on your screens. Call us. There's so much happening in the country. There's so much we've talked about today, from news review, Benjamin's insightful conversation, everything really that's on your mind. Call us and let's get a sense of where you are. 03022111691. Call us and let's get interactive then.
So a lot of things to talk about, to unpack: the trade and industry bit, power issues, finances. Where do we go from there? Oh, and you can also veer into the politics, the appointments committee and what they are saying. And speaking of politics, the General Secretary of the MPP says they lost the 2024 elections spiritually. What do you think about that? I don't know. Let me start from here. What do you think about how they lost it spiritually?
I don't know about spiritually, but I think they won it decisively. They lost it decisively.
They lost it decisively.
Spiritually, I can only think about Apenyo Markin's comments on how the minority side is not very good for his spirits, and now here we are. But yeah, Malik from Kwabenya, thank you for... Oh, Malik, you're calling us from Medina. Good morning. Thank you for calling.
Good morning. We were told, I want to talk about Gold Coast customers. We were told, the media told us we were supposed to get paid in December. So now, nobody has even received any payment, and the media is very quiet about it. We wonder what's really going on. So now, we still haven't received our money, and we're told the government embezzled, I think, 1.5 billion Ghana cedis to pay these customers. So now no one has received their money. And it's very concerning.
Malik, thank you for calling and sharing your thoughts on that. When we have some updates, when we have information, we'll let you know. But I'm sure those in charge, I hope that they are doing everything possible to reimburse you. Gold Coast, Men's Gold. Men's Gold, I know Nam1 recently changed his lawyer. He filed to say that he wanted to change his lawyer, so they should give him some more time. Oh, Charlie, I don't think that these people are actually going to get their monies back. But I'm not being a prophetess of doom. I'm just saying it's been so many years down the line. And if there was money to be refunded, maybe we would have seen some of it at this point.
Let's bring in Ishmael from Lashibi. Good morning.
Good morning, Joy News. Mine is a bit far away from the discussion you are having. I want to veer into international politics a bit.
Okay.
I know that Joy FM, you are, as you say, independent, fearless, and credible. I want to accept two of your narrative, but one of it I doubt. I feel that you are not independent. You are not independent in the sense that I've been monitoring your program, and I hardly see any news on Gaza. Gaza is a shame. I know Joy has, you know, you have a collaboration with BBC. I mean, I'm not here to denigrate BBC, but we know BBC has not been an independent broadcaster when it comes to Gaza. I feel very sad because Gaza, what if Gaza today could happen to Ghana? And we must say it as it is. If Joy FM says that, or Joy News says that they are truly independent, I want to see news about Gaza and the suffering of Palestinians. We must make it as plain as possible. Gaza and Palestinians, they have to be free. I mean, that's what it is. So if Joy News truly says they are independent, and you can actually say it as it is without having any fear of any attack from BBC, please do that. Because Gaza and Palestinians, they need to be free. They have to be free. And so this morning, I'm glad that I've been granted this opportunity because I've been wanting this opportunity to actually voice this. And unfortunately, even Ghana, we have not said much about Gaza. It's shameful. Our past president actually put all of us in a very tight corner by standing with Israel when the issues first came up. In fact, his first announcement or his first statement he made on Gaza actually emboldened Israel in a way to continue this kind of act. And it's a shame on all of us. All Ghanaians, we should be able to also be saying something because it could happen to us also.
I just want to say that because we are independent, we decide the stories that we focus on. We decide what gets our attention. I can recall so many moments on the news review segment where we've discussed issues on international politics. Benjamin has been talking and following the stories. We've spoken about it. So if you haven't caught wind of it on the channel yet, that doesn't make us dependent. I don't know how that fits into your narrative, but I'm just saying, maybe you're just missing that part.
Well, Ishmael from Lashibi, I think Sweetie has settled that matter. Thank you for calling, though. Your views we respect very much, but we are what we say, independent, fearless, and credible. And yeah, I mean, these issues, Sweetie, they inflame passions, and there are different thoughts of them from different quarters. What sometimes we also must realize is that in the international space, you don't, they say there are no permanent enemies. But you need to know how to play the game. So we'll leave it there. I didn't even want to comment on this one. But let's get to Kumas. Is it Obuasi now? Yakubu is there. And it's interesting, Yakubu is calling from Obuasi on the back of some of those developments there with the miners. Oh, it appears we've lost Yakubu. Yakubu, Fachame, why? If you can, please call again. I hope you get through. I'll be praying with you, Yakubu, that your call comes through. Else you beat me wherever you are. So please call again. But you can call that number, 0302-211-691. Let us know what is on your mind. And we'll allow you to share it. Whatever it is you have to say, we'll allow you to share it. Just as we allowed Ishmael to go ahead and share his thoughts with us. We'll not censor you. So let's do that. Sweetie, coming back into the studio. We have the rock, eh? Let's usher in Peter.
Yeah. Peter, good morning. Thanks for calling us. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Joy.
Good morning, Peter.
I think the earlier caller was wrong. We also have our issues here in Ghana to deal with. And here you're talking about Gaza. We have our own problems here. So when Joy FM try to focus on issues or things that are happening in Ghana, I think that is laudable enough. So, in fact, I'm not happy about his comment. Yeah, I think he was wrong.
Thank you.
Joy FM is a credible organization, independent for that matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling. That settles.
Thank you. We appreciate it, but I mean, it's his opinion. So let's allow him to also, I mean, right or wrong, maybe there's something we can take from there, but it's his opinion and we respect. No one is technically right or wrong when they call into our show. So let's leave it there. But we appreciate how you feel and the support. Definitely, we thank you for that. You can also call in. What are your thoughts? But there are Pachoyemra Ghana. There are salient issues to discuss. Yes, 02302-211-691. Matter plenty. Matter plenty, keke. If I step out right now on the road this morning coming to work, the matter plenty.
Ben, make we shut now and then go focus on Gaza.
You. Anyway, 0302-211-691. What are your thoughts for us this morning? And on the back of what I said about the MPP having lost the election spiritually, right, according to Justin Kodia from Paul, I saw some comments underneath there saying, okay, so if it was spiritual, then they must come into the physical and see what accounted for the spiritual realm and what happened in there. I'm yet to hear anybody talk about the spiritual element. I want to hear, especially if you are maybe, you felt let down by the result in the election. Do you feel there could have been a spiritual dimension?
Life is spiritual anyway. So, I mean, whatever it says they're talking about, they put the young elephants on it. We understand they're doing some research, investigations to understand what really
set up a committee.
They've set up a committee. So the young elephants are doing their job, and hopefully, if the spiritual bit is part of it, they'll reveal that, and we all know. We have Prince calling us from Kintampo. Prince, thank you for calling. What's on your mind?
Actually, on the MPP, what the General Secretary said. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. And talk to us directly, eh?
Okay. What the General Secretary said can be somehow, because it's part of their challenges that they saw that bring them down. The most you can't rely your defeat on spiritually, actually. And Joy News, hello?
Yes,
Joy
go
News.
ahead.
What we worry as Ghanaians is, now the new administration, led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has now planned to sell UCD, which is bad. Ghanaians, we are not happy how this young government should plan to sell this big asset of Ghana to the private sector, meaning what will be our sovereignty as a state. So, don't we have better management to manage the ECG? This is my question. I'm Honorable Etrifik in Tampo. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling. Did he say sell ECG? It's just conversations about privatization of some parts, not selling the entire ECG. So that correction is necessary. But call us. We still have time to pick your calls, 030-2211-691. Something that popped up during the vetting yesterday that I'm excited about, Ben, is that the Commander Sugar Factory will be operationalized. That is what the minister designate is saying. Remember how we did that documentary and subsequently discussions on the abandonment of that?
Documentaries, like
you know,
reports we've conducted over the years.
Yeah.
You know, that is one of the things I feel it is a blot on our conscience.
Yeah.
But you go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that I'm excited to hear that the conversation has been started again about operationalizing that place, because there's so much we can do in terms of, Let's go to Mohammed on the line. Mohammed, good morning. You're on the AM show.
Good morning. Good morning, my sister. How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Yeah, Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. I agree with the president. Okay. Hello?
Oh, we can hear you. Go ahead. Talk to us directly. Don't listen on the TV set.
The secretary of the MPP saying that they have lost the election spiritually. Can you imagine what is happening at Gaza, only for the president to come out and back them and support them? If you are not the weak, how can you do that? Thank you very much, my sister.
Thank you for calling. Ben?
We're back to Gaza.
You did say that they should share their opinions. And allow them to share.
So we're back to Gaza. So maybe the next caller will bring us back to Ghana. I like this ping pong. We go to Gaza, Kakra, Ghana Kakra.
Is the N and Z difference, eh? Ghana, Gaza.
But I mean, we may be smiling and laughing about these issues, but whether it's Ghana or Gaza and everything happening, these are serious matters affecting lives. And we do realize how delicate these issues are and how people are suffering, of course. And we just pray that through whichever means, whether diplomacy or whatever, there will be some resolutions to these conflicts. I read a story where Trump was telling Putin, end this war in Ukraine or there will be more sanctions. Like, okay, is this how he was going to solve it? Because the sanctions in the past have not solved the issue. I don't know, but we'll have to find a way. But that peace deal, that ceasefire recently that was being discussed as far as the Palestinians and the Israelis are concerned. I listened to one of their defense. You know, the Knesset has quite a portfolio of different, parties that are represented. And some of what they were saying, I was wondering what that would bode for long-term peace, basically, with Hamas in the picture, though weak. But we have a caller. Abendao is on the line.
Yeah, Abendao, you're live on the AM show. What's up?
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Benjamin Akapo and Madam Siti.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. 2025, I haven't called you, so I've been trying to call you and say Afishapa and also to Dennis and Aisha.
Oh,
thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time to call us just to say Afishapa.
All right, thank you very much. That's actually very sweet.
We just have about a minute before we wrap. So if you're our last caller, put that call in fast and then we should be out.
It's the last call for a call, not for alcohol. A last call for a call. But in the meantime, before the call comes through, let me celebrate. Let me send. It's the radio team, Super Morning Show, that will do the chaotic, birthdays. But this one was sent through yesterday. I didn't do it. It's belated to Lovia Ajay Bwachiwa of Adabraka Polyclinic. Yesterday was your birthday. And so, borrowing from the Super Morning Show, a chaotic birthday to you, Lovia Ajay Bwachiwa, Adabraka Polyclinic. And God bless this new cycle. Do you know today you are dressed like someone who probably is a gehe affiliate. Wesley Girls.
Wesley Girls, rather. I was told in the makeup room this morning, and I didn't even know.
Yeah,
I didn't
Wesley
know that
Girls.
this was their color.
Your colors.
Apparently, they have some
morning.
speech and prize giving day going on. So yeah, this is in solidarity with the Wesley Girls. Eh? I'm dripping in your colors. We have a last call online. Okay, great. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. I think this all that time will allow us to do. You loyal and really interesting audience, we love you. Thank you for staying with us from 6 a.m. till now. We're back tomorrow for the Friday edition of the AM show. I can't wait to see what Benjamin talks about in his blunt thoughts tomorrow. What would it be? Can you tease us a bit?
You'll find out.
Ah, Benjamin.
You
Yes.
will find out. But
All
Joy
right.
News Desk is up next. You want to stay for that. Have a wonderful day.
Hey,